As Avon wins at 37-20, Elder pass for 216 yards, 4 touchdowns. Eagles win back-to-back state championships. Keontae Smith ran for 182 yards and a score for Avon. Meanwhile, coming up later on this morning, 10:30, the Division IV title game. Glenville will face Shelby. On the ice last night, Cleveland Monsters beat Syracuse 4-1. The Monsters scored all 4 goals in the third period. Now can find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
I think he should get the next 5 games. You know, that's a pretty decent sample size, 7 games, to see which way this is headed. I think you want to continue to see progress and improvement. I guess I don't really understand what the point would be. You know, if you have him play a couple games, I mean, what happens if he really plays well? You go into next year and say Deshaun's the guy?
Catch Odyssey NFL insider Ross Tucker on Afternoon Drive every Wednesday at 4. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
They have a chance to put themselves in position to where they could get the quarterback they want and not have to trade up to get him. Tennessee is sitting there right now at 1-11. You have 3 wins, but if you want to ensure that you get the best quarterback, you obviously can just keep losing games.
What a sad-ass discussion this is.
And so I would ask you, if you don't want to give up any more talent than you have to, why would it not make sense for the Browns just to lose every game they can, including this week against the Titans?
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Don't do this. Stop being lazy. Why do you insist on being lazy?
Teams tank in sports all the time.
And I think it's lazy.
The Browns did it for 2 seasons.
And what did it get them? We got all this.
It got the first Super Bowl window.
You get cussed out on the internet over a guy who probably ain't even going to be the quarterback next year. Congratulations on your huge win. And here we are again.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got 2 big things to discuss before we take off with the 3-9 Browns. One, it's going to be a special show. It's coming in hot today, 9:45, and I could see it in his eyes when he walked in, and I went, oh, yeah! Lima was dancing with the creature last night. Yeah!
And fielding phone calls.
Loose cannon. Whoa!
Fielding phone calls like crazy.
Phone calls here in a second. Loose cannon Lima. Folks, it is time. I saw the glassy eyes. I went, oh, he's had 3 hours of sleep. Yes.
You might as well open up the phone lines right now, Kenny.
Woo! I can't wait. It's going to be a hell of a show.
Hold on. We had a Bay Village Men's Club. It was Secret Santa.
Yes, you did.
Come on now. It was a December meeting, Kenny.
Yes, it was a December to remember for you.
There were 15 different bourbons over there on the back shelf.
Yes. Oh, man. This is going to be great. Well, you're a married man now with kids, so I don't know if I can bank on the help you used to get around 9 o'clock, but we'll make it through the show. We'll make it through. We'll see how I'm feeling around 9:01 when Nathan joins us, and he's going, what question did you ask? Oh, okay. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
That only happened during COVID. Come on, Kenny.
You used to pass out during interviews during COVID.
I was laying in my bed.
Why would you do it laying in bed?
I had this $10,000 mattress thanks to a mattress company that partnered up with us, and I would sit back there, and Kenny would go, hey, I'm going to take the lead on this one, okay? And then I would go,
Kid would text me and goes, I can hear him
DeQuell Jackson, is he playing this week?
He's like, dude, I can hear him like breathing. I think he's asleep. Hey, it was 5 years ago. We can say it now, right? I'm like, Kenny, there's nothing I could do. I'm at my house.
Going to the speakeasies?
There's nothing I could do.
Do you remember the speakeasies?
Yeah, I know about the speakeasies. I never got to go with you to the speakeasies.
When you had to watch which bar you would go to because it could be Ed Gallic.
Yeah, the Gallics were going to come in and raid you. It's a great day. So today is fun because you had fun last night, and I love these shows. Also, are we going to address the elephant in the room here?
Well, I think we have to.
Okay. So yesterday, I didn't think there was any. So we might be breaking news during the show today if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening live, there is a conversation going on. Penn State is talking to Matt Campbell. If anybody's listened to the show, I know that we have some new listeners here over the last couple of years. We are blessed to have several coaches across the country, but obviously Matt is from Northeast Ohio. And we are friends with, we consider him our friend, and we consider his family our friend. And so we're kind of paying attention to the news today because he's the head coach at Iowa State. And that's why if you watch on YouTube, we're wearing Iowa State stuff. And by the way, if something happens, I ain't getting rid of that Iowa State stuff. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm going to keep wearing some of it. But we are paying attention to the news today because there could be a possibility by the end of the show even that he could end up going to Penn State. I do think there are significant challenges with being the head coach at Penn State. I've shared those challenges, those opinions before. If you want me to, I'll share them again. They took a bath in recruiting this last year, so they're going to need somebody to love them up. Everybody knows, I think, the world of Matt Campbell as a coach and as a guy, as a person, as a father. Lima feels the same way. I don't know why I feel like I'm giving a press conference right now, but because you don't want to start saying things and then, I don't know, they felt they had their guy before. They didn't get their guy before, so I don't know what's going to happen by the end of the day. I was fielding several phone calls yesterday. Lima started fielding several phone calls yesterday.
I was getting calls from Peter Luger's in Brooklyn, New York.
Lima was getting calls from some very nice places yesterday.
From Penn State alumnus.
Actually was getting calls from calling hours yesterday. So there was a big difference there. But yeah, we are monitoring the situation. We might get the chance to break the news. I don't know. So basically, I'm sitting here like Jimmy in Goodfellas, kind of waiting in the diner to see what happens. Hopefully, it doesn't end the same way it did with Jimmy waiting in the diner for Tommy to be made. So we're kind of waiting on that. We'll see where it goes. I feel the job. I'm not going to back down from any previous comments just because now he's considering the position. I think that it has significant challenges. The expectations are through the roof. I think the fan base is fun but wild, very wild, but because they flirted with real greatness here over the last how many years and they haven't been able to achieve it. He would be expected to take them to that greatness. It is a much different animal than Iowa State or really anything in the Big 12 to this level. So we are paying attention to the situation. Lima, do you have an opinion on the job before we get rolling with the Browns and this report from Jeremy Fowler?
I do. As I look, and Penn State has like the 150th recruiting class out of how many teams in college football? You might. This might actually be after everything is settled. You might have a season, if whoever the next head coach is at Penn State, where there will be zero expectations. Everybody will understand that the administration put him in this predicament, firing the coach when they did. So you might have a year where you could come on in, make a ton of money, and not be necessarily expected to like contend or anything like that. And everybody would understand the predicament that you're in. And just be able to start to lay down your program and culture and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're a really good coach and you have made a career out of winning games you're not supposed to, maybe have a few surprising wins along the way where you're double-digit underdogs.
I'll be blatantly honest. 2026 is not the year I'm really. 2027 is the year that I would like. All right, you got to get it going because I think 2026 right now.
They're done for this year.
That doesn't seem to be a lot of fun walking into. But when you're taking over a program that fired their coach, usually you're taking over a program that you got to build back up and you got to do it. So hopefully there would be time given. But obviously you're at a place like Penn State. If he accepts the position, it's a place that you're going to have to go faster than what you would at a lot of places because Iowa State's a wonderful place, and I could see why because Matt's from Northeast Ohio. If you've ever been there to Ames, Lima and I have. If you've pulled off the highway off 77 in Belden Village, it's basically the same town. And being from that area, you could see why he really loves it. So I will tell you guys this. there is a possibility that he may just stay. He may just stay. So this isn't, while I wait to find out the news, I don't think that this is some coronation. We do know that there are people listing out names right now. He may very well just stay because he really, 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 really loves it there, and he really loves the people. So we'll find out maybe by the end of the show, or we'll find out maybe by the end of the day. We'll see how everything goes. It wasn't a surprise, but it was still a bit of a surprise considering how everything's gone. But again, Lima and I do feel very strongly in Matt as a guy, person, coach. Think he's one of the best coaches in the country. And I think they'd be real lucky considering how embarrassing this whole thing has been for Penn State. I think they'd be really lucky to land a guy like him.
You could tell they have flailed away in every direction. And so now we're sitting here in early December, and while the playoff is about to get going, you have conference championships this week, and I think finally cooler heads probably came together, Kenny, and said, let's just hire a good football coach. There is a clear and obvious good football coach that we could have that would fit right in this conference, have no problem. You just saw last year they got over the Iowa bugaboo finally.
Well, I'll say this. Well, they've been beating Iowa now over the last couple of years, but yeah, it took a few years to break through, and there were a couple of heartbreakers in there. But I felt weird because it's like if I start pounding the table, I didn't want to be like, oh, now Kenny's speaking. I didn't want to do that. But Josh Pate has a much larger platform when it comes to college football. I mean, Josh Pate has been beating the drum over the last several weeks, over the last several months, and I'm glad somebody's out there saying yeah, this is a fine football coach. This guy knows what the hell he's doing. But again, by the end of the day, he really, really loves that area. He really, really loves Iowa State, and he may very well just stay there. So I'm not going to guarantee anything, and I'm not going to divulge anything. We
just want new gear. That's all we want. We don't care what happens. We want new gear.
The reason I ask for a lot of football gear is because it's much more easier to find 4X tall. Because there's a lot of short, fat guys, but there's not a lot of 6'3" fat guys out there. They happen to play football, so it's much easier. When Lima has his basketball coaches, I'm like, you don't need to give me nothing.
The mediums aren't going to work.
Just send it to him. It's much easier to fit him. So yesterday, this came out, and I think we know why. Jeremy Fowler, Dan Graziano, they came out with a report.
They teamed up.
Yeah, they did. This is like the Galaxy of the NFL here. According to them, that there is a situation. This is all AFC North, a lot of stuff, but basically how it goes is that, quote, would Kevin Stefanski be a viable head coaching candidate if the Browns move on from him? Multiple league execs predict yes, and it says from their buzz file. And everybody arrived at the same conclusion. Why would this come out now? I think everybody knows why this would come out now, because there would be a possibility. And I think it kind of speeds up the clock on a lot of things going well. And I heard Baskin and Phelps talk about it yesterday. I think that they were right about it. I think there was not a lot that could be refuted. I heard Nick and Jonathan yesterday. I think they were right about it. And when you hear different people, you'd love to come up with a different spin. But I don't think there's very much of a different spin. Is that, yeah, there's definitely a possibility that this could happen. And you want your name out there, or your agent wants your name out there, I should say, to be into consideration, because again, fans have a lot of power over a lot of things. Movers and shakers have a lot of power over that. And so I can't say, well, he's bracing to get let go, but you don't put this out there for no reason. Because before, Dan Orlovsky would get into it with people, or Ross Tucker would get into it with Afternoon Drive. But this is a report. These are, Dan Orlovsky's an opinionist. Ross Tucker's the same thing. These are guys who played the game. They give their analysis of it, and they know these guys as coaches, men, whatever. And they can feel that way because it's their opinion. But when it comes to a report, this is a report where, hey, we've asked some people, multiple league execs are like, yeah, there's definitely buzz around them. They'd be pretty excited to have him, and this could be a conversation. Now, I said earlier in the year, and I think a lot of people probably feel the same way, where I don't think that Browns fans take that as a threat. I do believe in things running their course, and I think for even a guy like Kevin could look at this and go, there's no way out of here. There's no light at the end of this tunnel. So what's the light at the end of the tunnel? Do I find a nice landing spot? Do I do that? For the Browns, could I possibly work a trade? I mean, we've been talking about trades all over the place. You want him so bad. Do I possibly work a trade here?
Do you think...
Is there anything... I start to think that way. If we're talking about trading for Tomlin and Harbaugh and yada, 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 okay, why? If it's going to go this way, because this is a report, I didn't make this up, you didn't make this up, this is an opinion. If this is a report talking to league executives here, all right, well, then maybe the Giants want to talk turkey.
Yeah.
Maybe the Titans want to talk turkey, even though that's awkward because we play them in just over 48 hours.
I try to get us outside of the Cleveland bubble, and I'm like, if we were in another market, let's say we were in New York, and we were on WFAN, and we are talking about trading for Kevin Stefanski. What's his record the last 2 years? Like
6-25.
That's just not happening. Do you really see another team next year wanting Kevin? And you know the feelings that we have about Kevin, just very different from the feeling I think that some of the fans here in Cleveland have. But it's been bad. The last 2 years, there's no mistaking that he has not done a good job. And now you have, these moments that have been crystallized in games. I mean, you gave away play calling duties, right, to somebody underneath you so that you could have a grand vision on the sidelines. And what are you doing? Almost slack-jawed as your team on 4th and 1 is fumbling the football.
They don't look organized.
Like that's not an endorsement. There's no way that you can, other than, hey, he took the Browns to the playoffs twice. That's it.
I can recognize where I say I like Kevin as a person. I like Andrew as a person too, to be honest, when we've said that a million times. I can also recognize when a run's come to its end, where maybe a clean break needs to be made. And I do think that Sunday has something to bear with that, because these are becoming, these losses, the misses in these losses, the attention to detail is waning. So like when people are like, well, he hasn't lost the locker room. I don't think there's like a mutiny. I don't think there's a revolt, but we're not paying attention. And then we're rotating in guys. Why are we rotating in guys in major positions that we should protect our quarterback? And I love Mary Kay. I just happen to disagree with her, and she happened to disagree with me yesterday. And I wanted to be very respectful, and I hope it came off as respectful. But if you thought that much, if that was your franchise quarterback, if that were Baker Mayfield year one, let's be honest, you ain't doing that. You ain't doing any of that, and you didn't do any of that. So are you getting ready to win these last couple games, or are you trying to get ready for next year? And if you're trying to get ready for next year, are they a part of those plans? And if we can talk about QBs being currency all day long, well, then let's talk about other guys being currency too. Because I think even Kevin would look at this situation and go, where is the light at the end of this tunnel? Where is it? And if I don't see it and I can find a landing spot, I'm going to try to find it. It's what's best for me and my career. And at that point, depending on what we know, and we won't see the total fallout for a while here, so I don't want to shoot my mouth off on things and have to go back on it. From what we know, that may be the blessing. 216-474-0092. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. And could Sunday make the difference on how fast all this goes? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. It's Anthony Lima with the chubby guy on the right who's scared to death, live on the Fan.
Nationwide.
to you by Choice Cabinet. ChoiceCabinet.com.
Hey everybody, Eddie Baskin for Choice Cabinets. Did you buy your house in the last 10 years, 15 years, and look at those cabinets and go, oh, what are we doing here? Time to upgrade your cabinets. Choice Cabinets, 60 or 70% off of retail because Choice Cabinet is the manufacturer. ChoiceCabinet.com.
Whenever you need to talk about the Browns, we got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Whether to hand the ball off or hit the gas, that's coming up here in a bit. 216-474-0092. So this story comes out, and it's from Jeremy Fowler, ESPN, as well as Dan Graziano, and about what the buzz is about Kevin Stefanski and about his future. And somebody had written, quote, he said, I've spoken to, I believe he's been the prime candidate for several executives and coaches I've spoken to believe he'd be a prime candidate for a head coaching job elsewhere should Cleveland move on after the season. Quote, he's a good coach, experienced, two-time coach of the year. Cleveland's a hard place to win, an AFC executive said. He might need a fresh start somewhere else. Like, I don't disagree that he'll be a head coach somewhere else, somewhere down the line. My question is one, does it make you rethink any of this? Two, I got plenty of questions here. I got more questions than I have answers out of this, to be honest with you. Two, is it just Kevin, or does Andrew have to go with him? Because we got some Bubba Ventrone audio coming up where I think Bubba Ventrone might have taken a subtle shot at Andrew Berry and roster construction here. Coming up in a little bit. Three, and I got hammered about it, but I'm just going to ask. I know none of you guys think it's even possible to trade for Kevin Stefanski. But we're going to talk about all these other guys whose names are mud in the NFL possibly being traded. Maybe not mud in the NFL, but to their fan base. Why can't I talk about trading him? The worst anybody can say is no. The worst anybody could say is no on any of this. So why can't I say, well, you could possibly trade him? Like, why can't I do that?
I just find
I'm
it
just asking.
No, I know.
And you could shoot it down, and I think it's getting shut down, but I think the question needs to be asked.
I think people are going to look and say, what was he the last 2 years? 3-14, 3-9. And I get it. You could say, well, Deshaun Watson. The Deshaun Watson deal submarined everything.
That's all.
For the Browns.
Yeah.
But still, they didn't overcome it. They didn't. Well, yeah, but you can't make the argument that Kevin Stefanski.
Things like Sunday aren't on Deshaun Watson. He wasn't there.
Right. Like, we're to the point where when you're losing games like you did, last week to the JV team for San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, it does it's hard. You want coaches that overcome, all the roadblocks, and they're able to, be able to do things they're not supposed to do and overachieve. And you can't say he's overachieving. You could say he overachieved at the end of, 3 years ago when they went to the playoffs. And that was an overachieving team.
And also, and this is why I look at it, I'm sorry to cut you off, and I want to know from people, 216-474-0092, could Sunday even make a difference for you? Because if they lose that game, maybe it expedites everything, because Tennessee is a more bun franchise with a zombie coaching staff right now because they let go of their head coach. But as we move forward with this, going back to it, how much is he, we've always questioned, how much is he even in power of? Like when people call in about Alex Van Pelt, we had a caller about Alex Van Pelt and letting him go earlier this week, and I go, whoa, wait a minute. There's plenty of people say that wasn't his decision. And I think that annoys a lot of folks. Because if it's the same thing. Remember, I used to sit here and yell about Paul DePodesta before he got let go. Or before he left and went to Colorado. And I used to say, my problem is I don't know what you're accountable for. Accountability is a big thing with you this year, Tone. I mean, that's basically the theme of the season with you. And I think, okay, it's got to be the same thing with Kevin. Why am I not finding accountability with Kevin? Is it his offense? Isn't it his offense? Is it his decision to put in Tevin Jenkins, or is it not his decision to put in Tevin Jenkins? Like, we don't know what exactly you stand for, what exactly your power is. And you've said it a bunch of times. It seems as if this is the only guy who's won two-time Coach of the Year, which God forbid any of these coaches ever win it again with the Browns. The two-time Coach of the Year has had power taken away from him. Has had power taken away from him.
You don't see that in the league.
The question of whether or not he really wanted to bring in Deshaun Watson. It's still, you're the head coach of the football team. And so if you are in charge of these decisions, they want you gone. If you're just standing by, then people are going to want a stronger-willed individual to stand in there so they can know they can hold that person accountable. That, I think, is one of the major issues with Browns fans. And I got to tell you guys, I feel the same way. It's very frustrating not being able to hold somebody accountable and finding a bunch of different excuses for something that we don't know whether or not they did it, because that sounds bass-backwards. It sounds wrong. And if you're a losing football team and all I can do is come up with, well, he's not really in charge of that, he's not really in charge of this, he's not really in charge of that, he's not really in charge of those things. Fine, get me somebody who's going to be in charge.
And Kenny, I'm telling you, the vision or the optics of him on the sideline as the team was floundering away on a fourth down in a big moment of that game where you've got an offensive lineman running onto the field late, and you have Harold Fannin coming over center.
Who, because he played high school quarterback, thought maybe it was his responsibility to call timeout, which is insane. We got to understand how insane that is.
Insane. And so
it's Friday, and we're still complaining about it.
That to me could prove to be, honestly, that could prove to be the indelible mark of this year and this team and Kevin Stefanski, as he could be going out the door and going, what were you doing to take care of your football team in that moment?
I don't know. 216-474-0092. Let me ask you this before we get to the phones. Do you think that Sunday can make a difference? If they go and they lose to that zombie coaching staff, Cam Ward, there's a lot of things that Cam Ward is trying to do that he just can't do because Calvin Ridley's hurt. You have DK, the kick returner, who's a threat. Other than that, they're terrible. Tony Pollard is a ghost of what he used to be. I can't call him a ghost of what he used to be because the offensive line is just so god-awful bad. It's one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen on tape, at least in a professional football uniform.
So you're asking if he can't put together a game plan to beat that Tennessee team in which you are favored by 4 points, could Jimmy Haslam step in on Sunday night, Monday morning, and finally put an end to this after 6 years?
What are we doing here?
And I think this could be one of those where the fan sentiment, where we know you don't want to overreact to what fans say, but there's no way Jimmy is happy with this whole experience. I mean, we can go back to the Minnesota game in London that was botched in the fourth quarter, where I told you they had season ticket holders and they had partners there as part of that trip, and they lose that game, and I'm like, Jimmy's going to remember that. Jimmy's going to remember how his coach let down the team in that moment. And then what has happened since then? And if you're telling me that he's just been a good soldier in all of this, while his superiors have been toggling quarterbacks back and forth and trying to figure out, how to evaluate these guys. And he's starting Shador, who Kevin had told people privately, according to the reports, that he had no plans on playing him this year. It was a developmental year. Like, there's got to be some unrest behind the scenes, and that's got to make its way to Jimmy Haslam's office. And if they lose to Tennessee,
because I got a weird stealing feeling here, and because you're 3-9. Can I just get to? I'm going to take the phones here. Can I just at 6:43? Can I share a wild ass idea? Of why this leaked today or yesterday? Let me get to Drake in Cleveland. You're first up on the Fan. Hello, Drake.
How are you doing this morning?
Doing
Thank
okay.
You for taking my call. You and Anthony.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know I normally give you flack, but this is not that call this morning. I just wanted to ask you and Anthony, one question, and I'm gonna hang up and answer. But before I ask the question, just remember, Jimmy Haslam has owned this team since 2012. They had 2 winning seasons. Both of those winning seasons, the Browns coach was coach of the year because the Browns do not win. So any coach in Cleveland that wins is going to be nominated for coach of the year. Having said that, please explain to me and the people that are listening to this wonderful show that we listen to every day, what does Kevin Stefanski do well? I'll hang up and listen. Thank you for taking my call.
I used to be able to say planning. I used to be able to say organization. Yeah. These were things that were just, and because remember who he took over. I like Freddie. Freddie was a disaster. Freddie was not organized. Freddie did not know how to put together, and he didn't. He didn't know how to put together staff. He didn't know how to put together a game plan. He didn't know how to do things in game as a manager, as a head coach. He just was not qualified for the position. And because Kevin took over for him, who is organized, who does have those things there, it looks so much better. But you're 6 years into that, and now we're starting to see the things get away from them. We're starting to see the misfires in how you're bringing in guys on and off the field. Again, going back to the fourth down, go to the first fourth down that everybody is going over and there's crazy sabotage theories going on. You still, it's early in the game. You're in your second drive. You have Tevin Jenkins in there in a critical fourth down. Tevin Jenkins may be one of your future guys. Are you really wanting to rotate guys in on that fourth down? That's part of why I don't understand the rotational part of things here, and I don't like that. And that to me is like, are you having a feel for the game? Who's making the decision for you? But I can't help but think, as we have this conversation, something just struck me here. Because we have discussed how we want this to go on Sunday. And I think I might have an idea why this got leaked yesterday. And why Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano wrote this yesterday. Because you and I have been asking a question, not on the air just yet, and we're going to get to it coming up in 5 minutes. Do I want him to turn around and hand the ball off to Quinshon Judkins, or do I want him to turn it up and rip the knob off? And I think that answer might tell you why this came out yesterday. Let me explain in 5 on the Fan.
This is Attorney Tom Merriman. If you get severe
Lead and become world citizens. Learn more at try-c.edu/honors.
Indiana and Ohio State square off for the Big Ten Championship. How will the outcome affect the college football playoffs? Whenever you need to talk college football, we've got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Say hello to our good buddy Jason Lloyd, who's listening right now from The Athletic. So I'm sure my phone's about to light up here because it is time for theories. Because I want to ask you one damn question, Anthony Lima. Daryl Ryder going to join us at 8:20. I might ask him the same question. Do you or do you not want them to turn it up and rip the knob off when it comes to the offense and Shedeur Sanders on Sunday?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I think they have protected Shedeur. I do.
All right.
I think he is. Can I elaborate?
Yeah, go right on ahead.
Okay. I didn't know.
Well,
was there,
okay.
Oh, no, I was asking. I didn't know if there was
you
news.
Take a shot at me there? Or?
No, I didn't know if there was news coming across your desk.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Boy, you got the glassy eyes,
Well,
man. You better get some more of that coffee in you.
I've been flight tracking all morning.
Oh, my God, stop that. You're not Joe Lull. You never will be Joe
I'm just
Lull.
saying,
Stop trying to be Joe Lull.
You're looking for any kind of...
I knew Joe Lull, sir. You are no Joe.
You are no Joe Lull. All right. I do think when it comes to, the Browns situation this week, when last week it was windy, it was Robert Saleh, and even though it was the JV San Francisco 49ers defense, clearly Shedeur has proven that it's not going to be some circus out on the football field, right? Some of the stuff that maybe, I'll admit, I anticipated, I was like, oh my God, it's going to look like the second half of the Baltimore game. It hasn't. He's been fine. Guys have lined up. Guys have they've run the plays. They've gotten the calls in. It's not some mad dash scramble. So I have to admit, that talking point seems silly now, that we just assumed, or some of us, and I admit it, I was part of it, I just assumed it would look like a fiasco. It hasn't. So because of that, I think you can allow Shedeur to play a little bit of football. It doesn't have to be 30 screens. We got to evaluate him.
All right.
We got to see if he can do some more things.
This is good analysis, and I would like to break down the game, but I kind of keep going into the innuendo here. You say you want him to be turned loose.
Yeah, a little bit.
Turn him on, turn him up, and turn him loose.
Yeah.
Dwight Yoakam. Do you think Kevin wants to?
No, I do not.
For the record, I want everybody to know that Lima just said he doesn't think Kevin wants to turn him loose. Because last week, I remember hearing that somebody within the front office had said, you wait, you're going to see a lot of Quinshawn Judkins today. And there were people going, why is somebody in the front office talking about that? Are we sure that now? Who's calling the game here? Are we approving game plans and things like that? You think that you want to turn them loose? The fans want to turn him loose. You don't believe Kevin wants to turn him loose. Do you believe Tommy Rees wants to turn him loose? I see that face, so that's a no. So if they're not going to turn him loose, or excuse me, if they don't want to turn him loose, do you think that there is any possibility that this was put out here this week? Maybe it's just a coincidence. Very well could be. But a lot of people are going, I think the agent said something to somebody here. And I got Baskin and Phelps wondering, if they lose on Sunday, you might as well just start letting go of people because you were at the bottom of the freaking barrel here. And last Sunday was a disgrace of coaching. This Sunday may be a disgrace of coaching. And I'm going, guys, these are hell of an argument here. I can't fight you back on this. So if you believe that you want him to be turned loose, and I think 95% of the fans want him to be turned loose, I might actually go back on something I said earlier this week about that. But you don't believe Kevin or Tommy Rees wants to turn him loose, and then this story comes out about, hey, there'd be other teams that are interested in Kevin Stefanski. Well, okay. Does he think that they're going to turn him loose against his better judgment? He's going to go out there, throw some interceptions, put them in bad spots, maybe lose this game, and then lose his job because of it. Do you think that might be a possibility here?
Yeah,
okay.
That could happen.
I'm just trying to not sound like a lunatic any further than I already have.
Yeah, I think it's tough with Shedeur, at this stage in what was supposed to be a developmental year.
Okay.
Right? I think that, he's seeing everything for the very first time. But I have been impressed. Not like his numbers are terrible. The analytics are terrible.
I don't need
all that stuff.
guys, I'm not paying that close of attention to the numbers. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. I know you guys put together a bunch of numbers against other quarterbacks last week. I don't care. I want to see what he looks like.
It would be bad with almost anybody in this situation.
Thank you.
So I'm not even and then the weather. Again, it's supposed to be cold and
well, he's used to cold weather. He's used to cold weather.
But
the wind will play a factor.
That wind is something to deal with.
Okay.
We keep talking about the one throw that he missed to
but if you want
Jerry Jeudy, but there was another throw that he missed by 15 yards because it got hung up in the wind. I didn't hold that against him.
I get it, and if he's got
to acclimate himself to those conditions.
Yes, and if you want to turn him loose, and it seems that the general pub 216-474-0092, do you want to turn Shedeur loose on Sunday? Do you want to do it?
Because this is the week, too. This is not the Bears. It's not the Bills.
I'll give you my answer on this.
It's not teams that are vying for playoff contention. It's the worst team in the NFL. This is like the third time we've said that this year because we thought it was Miami. We thought it was the Jets. This is, right? This is the worst team in the NFL.
Yes, poor Kayla's shaking her head because she doesn't know what I want. I just look over there because you're in my general line of sight, Kayla. I apologize.
No, I'm just wondering, why not? What do you have to lose?
Oh, you want to turn him loose. Kayla wants to turn him loose. A lot of people do.
We're 3-9, correct?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this.
So other than him getting hurt, what's the worst that could happen?
All right. The only thing that's worse that could happen is that you could hurt his confidence. I've thought about this all week. Hold on. I've thought about this all week. I think, though, that if you can play too conservative and go, is this the style of football that he's used to? Am I making him think too much? Should I just let him stand and deliver and let her rip? And it's been 2 games of pussyfooting around the situation, 2 games of conservative offense, and I've supported it. Now, I'm not trying to do this as a get-right game or anything like that. This isn't Colorado versus Northern Iowa or something like that. This is the NFL. They're all pros. They're all good football players to some degree. It's just some happen to be better than others. It can backfire. But I'm thinking, hey, if we're going to evaluate here, maybe we should just let him turn it loose. Maybe we should just put him in the gun. And I'm not talking about 40-yard bombs all the time. He's going to try one. It's him. He's going to try one. But I'm not talking about 40-yard bombs. You want to do screens. You want to do short slants. You want to do tunnels. You want to do wheels. You want to do things like that. Go right on ahead and do it. Go right on ahead and do it. I say turn him loose. I think Kevin Stefanski disagrees with that. I think Tommy Rees may disagree with that to some level, but definitely Kevin Stefanski. And I just have to ask the question, is that why this story comes out this week? And you are telling me, yeah, there's absolutely a possibility that would happen. So I just don't want to sound crazy. I don't want to sound crazy twice in a segment. I just had to ask the question, could you trade Kevin Stefanski if it seems that the rest of the league just loves the guy? Okay, that sounded nuts enough as it is, but is there a possibility that he doesn't want to turn him loose? They're going to turn him loose, maybe even against his better judgment or against his will. And if that were to be the way it is, he goes, you know what, this is ridiculous, and something has to be leaked. Because if you're going to go out and lose games, and you're going to lose games and you're not even responsible for your own decisions to lose those games, in losing those games, then why is my name going to turn into mud with the general public? Because when you lose to Tennessee, if you lose to Tennessee, a lot of this stuff's going to go out the window. If Giants fans are there or Tennessee fans, if that's a possibility for you, or any of the other ones, you're going, you lost to the Jets and you lost to Tennessee, and we're going to get this guy. Owners see that. They wonder that. Family members of the owner see that. They wonder that. These are still situations that your agent has to cover for. Your agent has to put that into mind with everybody. So if I do have another AFC league executive saying, oh, yeah, it's tough to win in Cleveland, but he's a good coach, this, that, and the other, like what Jeremy Fowler writes, then maybe that's a possibility of how he thinks. We'll find out on Sunday. Maybe Kevin does want to turn him loose. I don't know. When you're 3-9 and I don't know what you're responsible for, I have to ask all the questions. I have to ask them all. But I agree with you. I thought I wanted to be conservative. I go, you know what? If I'm not going to throw it against this team, what team am I going to throw it against?
Right. What
team am I going to do?
You've seen the schedule coming up.
I've played patty cakes too long. It's the NFL. You either is or you ain't in so many ways. And by the way, it's right now. If you were going to go, is he the guy to start 2026? In your heart of hearts, unless you're a fan, you're going to say no. Unless you're a hardcore Shedeur fan, you're going to go, no, I don't think so. We're probably going to have to go in a different direction. This is one of the few ways that I could turn that into a yes. Make him play a comfortable style of football that he's used to. Have him throw the ball. Whatever happens, happens. Damn the torpedoes. I've lost many games before. Hopefully there's not many more to lose. But I've seen it all before, and I'm trying, if we're all trying to evaluate as fans, and what's wrong with turning him loose? 216-474-0092. Do you want Shedeur to open it up on Sunday? And I wonder if Kevin feels that way. And that's why I wonder why this came out this week. I think we know why, but I wonder the timing. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, Daryl Ryder, 820. You guys coming up in 5, and might be getting a little bit closer to the DEFCONs here when it comes to the Cavs at 722 on the Fan. Window Nation and
20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m.
I think the guys definitely know what's in front of us. We'll definitely know how important this next one is, and we'll worry about the next one after that. After this one, we kind of put those blinders on, but they know how important it is to play complementary football to go get that outcome that we desire.
Yeah, and they know it's important. I know diet and exercise is important as well. It's been a long year. Sorry, I had to do it. I know it's cheap, but I had to do it.
That's a little too gritty.
Okay. Coming up at 8:20 this morning, Daryl Ryder going to join us on the show. Happy birthday to Joe Thomas yesterday, by the way. Did you text him? I didn't text him. I don't want to bother people on their birthday.
I gave him a nice shout out because his
oh wow, congratulations.
His meets are coming to Northeast Ohio. Do you see that? Gunselman's?
I almost had to dump myself. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, you texted. That's right. Congratulations on Joe's meet being in Northeast Ohio.
I remember texting him. I said, hey, Deshaun Watson's window is open, and so is Hall of Fame beef.
That's right. You are an animal. But happy birthday to Joe. He celebrated it yesterday. Again, Daryl, 8:20. Could Sunday really be the swan song for Kevin? I want to ask Daryl that coming up at 8:20. Nathan joins us at 9. Do you want to be conservative Sunday, or do you want them to turn Shedeur loose? A lot of people say turn him loose, in the words of Paul Allen. Let's see it. And guys, I haven't really given my take all week, and I finally decided, you know what? I agree with you. Because I looked at it and I go, no, you want to be conservative. You want to turn around, the offensive line. If we can get the ball out on time, if we can get the ball out quick, if we can do those things. He didn't have a great offensive line in Colorado. That's a bad football team across from you. Now, it's not like it is in college where you're playing for a much better team than some get-right team or anything like that. It's the NFL. But if we're trying to figure it out, and if we're being honest with ourselves, if we're saying, do you or do you not think, be honest, do you or do you not think that he's your starter to start 2026? I'd say the vast majority of Browns fans would say no. And if we're doing this well, he's going to have 7 games to figure it out all together for us to decide whether or not we're going to go with him in 2026. If we're really saying that, then I got to have at least a fighting chance to prove to myself that maybe there is a chance he does. Because if we're just going to turn around and hand the ball off a bunch and try one big play a game and basically do what he's done for the last couple of games, no. But he won't have the chance to do it. So If the only thing I have to worry about is losing games, and I ain't no general manager, and you guys ain't either, unless Andrew's actually listening to this right now, if the only thing you got to do is just lose a couple more football games as a Browns fan, then what the hell's the problem? Unless he just really doesn't know the offense or anything like that, and I guess at least we'll all know.
Yeah, people always associate like going for it on 4th downs, nothing to lose. Yeah, that's fine. Everybody in the league's going for it on 4th down now. That's not some big wild, aggressive, scheme. I'm talking about letting a guy that can throw the ball down the field a little bit. And I know it's not easy in that stadium. Like I fully admit, but guess what? This is the NFL. Come late November and into December and into January, no matter where you are. So this is kind of got to be the approach anyway. And I get it. Offensive line is in tatters at times, even though I thought the last 2 weeks they played well for the most part. And your receiving room is your receiving room. But, the one thing Shedeur can absolutely do, as much as everybody is petrified of him going backwards and taking sacks, hasn't done that. Has not really done that. He really didn't take the sacks until, they were down a couple scores and, San Francisco was doing the proverbial pin the ears back stuff. That's when, and that's going to happen to any quarterback, young or old. Like that's just going to be the situation. I think the one thing he's demonstrated that he can do is get outside of that pocket and look comfortable, and then allow some receivers to get open, and hopefully he can pull the trigger.
216-474-0092. Dave in Macedonia, you're first up on the Fan. Hello.
Good morning, boys.
Morning,
Happy
Dave.
holidays to you guys.
Same to you.
Yeah, you guys, you're my heroes. You guys speak up. You tell the truth.
Weren't you the one who called us loser fans in a loser
that's right,
show?
This is the guy.
No, it's not. I would never do that.
All right, Dave, go ahead.
I can't, remember at the beginning of the Stefanski hire and the Berry hire when Haslam would say, we have our alignment. Yeah. Anytime you have an alignment, when the coach has to answer to the owner and the GM they don't answer to each other, even though they work well together, we would think, up to this year anyway. But I think it's terrible what Haslam has done to Stefanski, the positions he's put him in. And I would have to think, coaches are obviously different than front office people, clearly different than owners. They're coaches. That guy wants to coach a team so bad, and he just is unable here to do that. I'm almost like, are we going to lose Schwartz too if Kevin wants to have?
Well, why wouldn't you lose Schwartz then? I mean, if you're going to make a change at the head coach spot, you'll probably lose Jim Schwartz. I hate to say it.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Well, do you want to, unless you want to make him the head coach? You want to make him the head coach? I'm open-minded.
Yeah, well, who's going to run the offense? That would be the key.
You can find people to run the offense. I mean, as long as defensive guys can be head coaches still in the NFL.
Kenny, they've already lost Bill Callahan, Callie Brownson. I mean, they've lost assistants before.
You have guys. I know what you're doing over there, and I have to acknowledge it because they can see me on YouTube right now. You have Jim Schwartz, who is a strong-willed person. Defensive coaches can be leaders. You may need a leader. I think you do.
There's no doubt about it. I don't doubt that.
So why can't a defensive guy who might understand his ability to go, hey, I'm not in on the offense. Let me empower an offensive coordinator. I'm the head coach of the freaking football team, but I'm going to empower the offensive coordinator. There's such a thing as delegation. I know we're all afraid of delegation because, well, we don't trust each other in any of this, but you can delegate that power to somebody. Let me ask you, though, Dave. I mean, it's kind of off topic what you did. Let me ask you, do you want to turn Shedeur loose on Sunday?
Oh, I would. I would. Let's just see. Yeah, okay. I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean, really?
All right.
There's no reason not to.
Dave, thank you very much for the call. Happy holidays to you and yours as well. Ryan in Rocky River. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hi.
I feel like we're kind of stuck in Groundhog's Day with all this stuff. It's been how many quarterbacks have we had where we've restrained them and not allowed them to do their own thing? And I feel like we're damaging them by not allowing this to happen. It's like a unfit organization, even in a regular company. It's like micromanaging. Something needs to change. I think if it's Stefanski, if he's not allowed to, allow it, then something above him needs to change.
Well, let me tell you this. This is going to end up being a little bit of a long answer, Ryan, and thank you very much.
I totally disagree with that.
Well, I don't either.
Jameis was allowed to. Flacco's first iteration, those final games down the stretch.
Both veterans.
Yeah, they were. And Baker, he was allowed to throw the ball down the field.
Well, I mean, he can't. I mean, he's a first overall pick. Guys can stand and deliver. I agreed with the first couple of games in their game plan because I think about what Shedeur has been through in these last several months here. I mean, you fall to the fifth round. He didn't think he was falling to the fifth round, for crying out loud. You have a everyday fight over the NFL, his own team, his teammates. It's exhausting. And he's tried his best to stay out of it, and I think he's done a hell of a job to stay above it. But you get ready. They did not plan it. You're right. They did not really want him to play this year. They knew they were going to play him this year. They didn't really want him to play him this year. You don't want to take a guy who goes from the conversation is top 2, top 5, has him fall to the fifth round, and then put him in a position to turn the ball over and kill his confidence. It's been 2 games as a starter. He's 1-1 as a starter. He didn't look terrible in either one of these football games. There were a couple of messy passes. Certainly there were misses here and there. But again, what are you going to do? He may not be as bad as any fifth-round pick, but he's certainly not where you would take him in the top 5. I think we can all be honest about that. But there does come a time where, all right, you know what? Maybe I need to lean into it because if I'm going to get a game plan ready on Sunday, I could look at it if you're Tennessee and going to go, hey, let's stop number 10 first, and then let's see what number 12 does. If number 12 just starts off boom, 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 boom down the field, and we could get this thing going and have the focus on 12 and then open up Quinshon Judkins, we could do that easier. This is a winnable football game. This is a bad team. And really, this is the last game on this schedule that I'm like, yeah, you should win this game. At Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, at Cincinnati. I don't see it that way. Your next best chance is probably Pittsburgh. So this is the W here. Why not let them do it? Why not make them comfortable and do what it is and do what's unexpected? Because I think Tennessee's expecting them to, all right, our offensive line, we're going to run the ball because we don't really trust our quarterback. We're going to be conservative, and maybe that's the way that they want to do it, but that's not the way I'd do it. If you're going to open it up, not throwing it 60 times or anything like that, but if you're going to open it up, I'd try to open it up here with him. Atlas in Cleveland. Hello.
Good morning, fellas. How you doing? Long time listener, first time caller.
Glad to have you.
Guys, Mama.
Atlas in Cleveland Heights. Go right on ahead. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
There's a bunch to love about Kevin, man. He's a great guy. But one thing that we all been questioning from the beginning, and that this new report is true, he's definitely going to get a new job. Why can't we trade him? But the one thing that I've been looking for since he's been hired is him evaluating players. You know, last year or the year before, whatever, with him going to the Greenbrier, we was wondering what that was about. Nice trip, get away from things, change the scenery. But that was a summer Christmas tree vacation. So they cracking nuts around the Christmas tree in the summer rather than on the practice field. That's what you hear about Pittsburgh. That's why we wanted Mike Tomlin, because we know they crack nuts on the field.
Well, you got a lot of people there. Atlas, thank you very much for the call. You got a lot of people there who don't think very highly of Kevin Stefanski. I only suggested it just because I think in Pittsburgh they don't think very highly of Mike Tomlin. Now, Mike Tomlin, I think, is a pretty strong-willed person, a pretty good leader in so many ways. I think a lot of people don't feel that way about Kevin. All right, that's fair, because we don't know what he's powerful with. We don't know what he has power of, and he's 6 years in. If you're 6 years in and you don't know who has power, that's pretty telling on the type of guy you got. We got to be honest with each other here. If they're balking at the idea, I mean, they lined up the audio of you and me. I said I wasn't giving up a first-round pick. They lined up the audio of you and me in Pittsburgh, and they made fun of that audio. They didn't make fun of me. Made fun of somebody else. But if you can ask that question, hey, I'll take it on the other side. I'll get made fun of. I can always ask, well, if he's so good, why can't I talk about a possible trade? If it's run its course here and these stories are coming out, why can't I possibly have a trade then play out? That's the only thing I would like to ask. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But at least you got to ask. Yeah, anybody can say no. Anybody can pick up a phone on anything. 7:45, about last night, back-to-back state champs. We honor him, and we are paying attention to planes in the sky. Tone's got his eyes on the birds. And in 5 minutes, do we need to lighten up on Bubba Ventrone? Because I think Bubba Ventrone might have taken a bit of a shot at Andrew Berry yesterday. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
It's Anthony Lima for Floors with a Z. Holidays are here, and you could be hosting family and friends, maybe neighbors. Now's the perfect time.
Rocket Arena. Can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
When you want the latest on the Cavs, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
1 hour away, the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder, just over 20 minutes away. About last night, and how well do you really want Ohio State to play tomorrow night? Oh, that's in 5 on the Fan. Bubba Ventrone was doing his media rounds yesterday. Had to, as obligated. And I want to know from you, was this maybe a shot at Andrew Berry, maybe a little bit too strong, but is this a bit of an explanation that Andrew Berry didn't give him enough to work with? Because Bubba Ventrone was asking questions. He's like, hey, man, we really don't have a special teams ace.
I don't know if we have a guy that is like that right now. We have some veterans that are playing in a phase or two that will be vocal at times. But yeah, we probably don't have that one guy like that right now.
Also asked about the support he gets from the coaching staff and the general manager and everybody else.
And it feels like I have the support of the head coach, the GM, and ownership. I mean, AB, Kev, Jimmy, and J-Dub, like those guys have been very supportive. I think they definitely understand that we've lost guys in training camp. Winston, Buki, you lose DC early in the year. So then you have to piece the unit together. You're adding guys late, guys that haven't had as many reps to your units. I mean, I have no concern.
Okay, so that's Bubba Ventrone.
Isn't that every team in the NFL by this time of year on special teams?
Yes.
Who has their original special teams group and depth chart that
Usually
they established
nobody.
in August?
Because they're second teamers, and you got guys coming in who are probably signed.
This is his first year in the NFL?
Go right on ahead.
No, I mean, that's just kind of silly. I mean, I look at the team we just lost to, San Francisco, last week.
Yeah.
Do you want to list the starters that they don't have from this year that either they thought they had coming into this year or even go back last year?
No, that's way too tedious.
They're down 9 of the 11 guys that started last year. And what's the record of San Francisco right now?
8-4, 9-4.
They're 9-4. They've got 9 wins already.
Are they 9-4?
That was that. I mean, that's just.
I think they are 9-4 because they got the bye week today or this week.
Yeah, to hear 9-4 a Browns coach, and I know he wasn't like begging the media at the start, like, feel bad for me. But the fact that even comes up in conversation tells you that he's telling everybody he knows, well, I don't have my unit that we saw. I don't have the depth chart.
Does he have a unit, though?
No.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I think I feel the same way you do here. It sounds like a giant excuse because you can only play the hand you dealt, and there's better units out there on special teams.
I do have to say
that not having these falters.
I know this isn't college football or even the old school college football that we knew, that I remember A.J. Hawk as a freshman on special teams. Like, those days are done by and large. But I do think special teams is a reflection of your overall team talent because...
you've never said that they were a very talented team coming in, have you?
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
That I do think that, your special teams, the guys that are, fighting for the jobs on special teams and everything, it goes to show you like where the Browns are talent-wise. Like we've been having the conversation all year on, how talented the Browns are. And going into the season, like Vegas didn't think you were very talented. And some were going a little ridiculous, making it sound like they were like 30th out of 32. Clearly they have more talent than that. They have Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and they still have some, proven guys and then some rookies that have come along the way that have obviously flashed. But I think to sit there and complain and your default is to, we don't have our guys.
Oh, so you think he's making excuses?
Yes.
Okay, because if you're saying overall talent, I go, well, then I hate to be the devil's advocate here because I have not liked what they've done on special teams. I'm not talking about you. I know what I said about Andre Schmidt. I just thought it was a zero-sum game. I'm not even blaming that. I don't know how much a special teams coach has to do with kickers. Maybe Zastadil will text us during the show. I'm not sure. It's just like, hey, man, you either hit them or you don't. But let me tell you this. If you're talking about overall team talent, then that is the giant excuse. If you're saying that this isn't a very talented team, then you're saying that even the back, because most of them are backups who play on special teams, except for Grant Delpit, who's been all over the field this year. If you're saying that most of them are backups there, then you are giving him an out. And in turn, you're going after Andrew Berry. Because this is roster construction. This is roster construction. Guys in the backups, guys who are not going to be leading the way in the secondary, things like that. Like, why do you have to play Grant Delpit on special teams, who's one of the guys that you've paid? Is it because you can't count on Christopher Edmonds? Is it because you can't count on Donovan McMillan? Well, Donovan McMillan's made a couple of plays on special teams, so I don't know if that's like, you get what I'm saying here? So when you say these things, I get what you're saying. It should be a talent thing, but I don't like it. It sounds like an excuse for Bubba Ventrone. You don't like it. Are you saying you don't like it because he's saying these things in the first place?
I just don't like that victim mentality from coaches. Like,
well, is it a victim mentality, or is he talking for his coach?
Well, he probably is, but like, coach the guys you have, and don't be the worst unit. And like Coach Lance was saying, your special teams are not supposed to. This seen and not heard, like we talked about, they shouldn't be this bad. Having that Corley situation, like, fine, fumble, muffing a punt when the wind was crazy, fine, that happens. I mean, it really does. If you watch the NFL, you could tell that stuff does happen. The having the foot out of bounds and stepping out where you did, like, and giving your rookie quarterback that field position, that is horrendous. Then you start to wonder, what is being coached all week? That you could have a guy in that situation.
I think a lot of that, this is where I just don't agree with him. I know that these guys are not the very best. They are a 3-9 football team, but some of this stuff, I haven't seen this. Did we have the special teams weren't that great last year? I have not seen this bumbling last year, and they were 3-14 last year. They've had other teams that have been bad, and I haven't seen the gaps not be tended to. Malachi Corley just catching the ball. The ball's going out of bounds. What are you doing? What are you doing? Give me some attention to detail. They're not idiots. They can't all be idiots. I can't just sit there and call them all idiots and say that this is your giant excuse. But I do find it a little bit telling, though. I'll tell you guys this, because if we're keeping score here, because there's a lot of stuff about Kevin Stefanski today because of the Jeremy Fowler report yesterday. But remember this, Bubba Ventrone, I want to ask you right now, do you or do you not think that was any subtle shot at roster construction, a la, is that any subtle shot towards Andrew Berry? Yes, maybe, or no?
Maybe.
Now, I don't want to hear a maybe. I want to hear a yes or no.
Yeah. Special
yes
teams,
or no?
But
Give me it. Doesn't matter. He's talking about his job. He's being asked why he's still here. He's right there on the firing line, and he's saying these things. Do you or do you not believe that? I'm sorry to be so. I'm gonna get so upset. Do you or do you not believe that this is a subtle shot at Andrew Berry, Anthony?
I don't think he was thinking of it in those terms.
Taking that off the thing, because I can't keep making arguments against Andrew Berry there, because I keep going back to Mike Vrabel, who said, once they ran out of trick plays, because I think he's telling everybody they ain't got the horses. Once they ran out of trick plays, that was it. I think that's what Mike Vrabel's telling everybody, because him and Kevin Stefanski are buddies. And the other part of it is that Mike Tomlin had already mentioned about the trading Joe Flacco. That's 2 in there. And coaches, Kevin's not hated by other coaches in the league. Some do actually get along with each other. I just have to wonder.
Yeah, I get it. I think if it were the defensive coordinator,
I'll take Bubba off of it.
I think if it were Schwartz saying something like that, which of course he wouldn't, because their defense is amazing, or even, I will say this in defense of like Kevin. Kevin hasn't been out there saying those things, even though you and I both know the wide receiver room stinks. But Kevin has not been out there, or Tommy has not been out there, begging for sympathy about how bad the talent is. Then I think it would be a shot if it were one of them, one of your coordinators on offense or defense.
Then I'm with you on that. By the way, Dave Zastil texted, I know your heart probably dropped, because I know we're paying attention to phone calls today, and our phone's lighting up because of the Penn State situation right now. And if the news breaks, we'll break it to you live on the air. It's kind of exciting. And if he decides to stay, then he decides to stay. Iowa State's a wonderful place. But Zasty did text me back, said special teams coaches have very little effect over kickers and punters. Also, thank you very much for listening, Diamond Dave. We love you.
Yeah, I always love that when kickers are missing field goals or punters are just, having them go off the side of their foot. Special teams coach. Like, we don't think they're all kind of coaching similarly on that stuff.
But if you're blaming your talent, usually you're not going to get the very best. And you're not going to have the very best when you're a 3-9 football team. Okay. But there's a lot of things where we have to have attention to detail. We have to make sure that we get everybody's attention. I get Gage Larvadan's a try-hard, and he's not that's not Dante Hall back there or Josh Cribbs. I get it. But you got to play the hand you're dealt, sir. And I can't have any sympathy.
I've said this. I mean, the thing about the NFL, it really got really got reinforced with that loss, the way they did with the special teams gaffes. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And they had 2 weak links, right, this weekend against San Francisco on special teams, and that doomed them. I mean, that almost specifically cost them that game. Giving San Francisco that kind of field position, and your defense could only hold on for so long. Like, it is incredible how you can do so many things right defensively, but your special teams could go ruin a football game for you.
All right, Daryl Ryder at 8:20 this morning. I want to play some Josh Perry coming up here in a moment because I want to ask you folks, and I'm going to bring this back as well. We got the Big Ten Championship game coming up tomorrow night. I'm talking to 90-something% Ohio State fans, I imagine. 90%, and then the rest left over are Notre Dame fans with probably 1% Michigan fans. I know you want Ohio State to win. I don't begrudge you for wanting Ohio State to win. Do you also want Fernando Mendoza to play well? I'm not going to say, do you want Fernando Mendoza to beat Ohio State? I think it would make things a lot easier. It would make things a lot easier for a lot of folks because Dane Brugler puts out in his mock draft, we had him on yesterday, you can hear that 923thefan.com, but Dane Brugler puts out in his mock draft that the Browns are probably going to move heaven and earth to trade up to number 1 to go get Fernando Mendoza. And if Fernando Mendoza turns it, you know how it is when guys play Ohio State. If Fernando Mendoza turns in a turd tomorrow night, he will be off your board. I know how this goes. If he plays well and he loses, best of both worlds. You guys win the Big Ten championship. Congratulations on all your success. And Fernando Mendoza looks good. If Fernando Mendoza and Indiana beat Ohio State, which I just don't think they have the depth of the firepower, but Mendoza's good.
Line tightened over the last few days.
It's always bound to. If they do beat him, and I can't admit, there's no way on earth they beat Ohio State and he looks bad. I don't believe it.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Even though they do have a good running game, but yeah, it's hard to believe.
I'm going to go, listen, I don't like Ohio. I'm not an Ohio State fan. I'm an Akron fan. But let me tell you guys, if you lose tomorrow, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. You'll be national. You're still favored for the national championship. And if you're a Browns fan, Fernando Mendoza is going to look good. And then that might change your opinion on certain things. Now, I'm not trying to talk you into wanting to lose. I'm just explaining the situation to everybody. Do you want Fernando Mendoza to look good, or do you just want Ohio State to beat the brakes off him? 216-474-0092. I'm going to go to the Ohio State fan now in the room. Go right on ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were talking about this yesterday, and I'm like, man, if Mendoza has a big-time game, I'm going to be conflicted because I'm going to be saying, boom, now we've got a guy that went up against major NFL talent, and we are talking Ohio State. The way you would think about Georgia in years past or Alabama, that's what he would be doing it up against. Yeah. Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs. And
those are NFLers, boy.
And a defense, freaks, freak shows. We talked to Dave Brugler yesterday. These guys are freak shows.
Yep.
And if he pulls that off against Matt Patricia, who's been just playing mind games with all the quarterbacks this year, just totally befuddling these other offensive coordinators and quarterbacks, then me as a Browns fan would be going, holy cow. Like, that answers so many questions about
So Mendoza, you want him to play well.
But then I'd be thinking, oh no, Buckeyes are vulnerable now. Because if Indiana could do that, is that the only team that could do that against Ohio State? I'd be thinking, oh no, there are going to be some other attacks that may be able to do that. But for the greater good, and knowing that the Buckeyes still should be okay in the long run, I gotta say, I hope he balls out a little bit.
If they played well, if Fernando Mendoza, I'm not going to talk about the outcome because I know you guys will use it against me. If Fernando Mendoza plays well tomorrow night, I don't care about the outcome. If he balls out, I'm going to be happier in a pig in slop because it makes it so much easier. It makes it so much easier. In this city, in this state, if you play well against Ohio State, guys, you don't you damn near say a word because you know a lot of you turned your opinions because of number 6 because of how he played at Ohio State. Some of you hated him forever because of what he did at Ohio State with the flag planting, but a lot of you go, he beat Ohio State. He beat Ohio State. Drew Aller, hey, hate to say it, I know that he got caught in a lot of bad stuff because of the injury, and Andy Kotelnicki calls offenses for guys on the internet and for Instagram, which I can't stand, but that's another conversation. I thought November 1st was going to be the day because you already didn't like him based on what had happened the year before. I thought November 1st was going to be the day. Tomorrow night's the night for Fernando Mendoza. There's a lot of people, I think a lot of you are afraid of quarterbacks. You're afraid because of the history, which you can't be afraid. You have to keep moving forward with it. And they're like, well, we want this offensive lineman. I don't think you can name me an offensive lineman. I think you just want any offensive lineman because he ain't a quarterback. I think you just want any one of these other guys because they ain't a quarterback. Fernando Mendoza goes out there and balls out tomorrow night. I'm going to be a very happy person because it makes it that much easier to then bring you to terms with Fernando Mendoza. And certainly with the Cleveland Browns. It's not end-all, be-all. It's still going to be tough to get him because you can go out there and beat Tennessee on the next day, and then you're going to have yourself a bit of a problem trying to get to him still. But it's a possibility for you. And I would love to make it a much easier argument. 216-474-0092. Coming up next, the fabulous Mitch Spinell and About Last Night, where we're honoring a back-to-back state champion and one of our own. Got heated yesterday over the Browns' treatment of Wyatt Teller. Ken Carman, Tone Master General, About Last Night with the dangerous one at 8:20 on The Fan. Tom Merriman.
Sports Desk. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
So much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0. No one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him. How he couldn't please his wife, and so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
All right, guys, I'm going to get right into it. This is from the afternoon show yesterday. The Wyatt Teller situation with the Browns has been a heated topic this week, and no one got more heated than Nick Wilson yesterday on the afternoon show, comparing it, the treatment of Teller, to other players on the Browns.
It is really hard to defend so much of what they've done. I will not even attempt to defend this. This is so classless to me. And that line, show some things. I'll be honest with you. If I was Wyatt Teller, I'd show him one thing. And then I'd say, you can kiss my ass, pay me to go home. I mean, show some things? Like he's a rookie? While Jerry Jeudy does what Jerry Judy's doing.
Right.
It's just not hard. It's not hard to treat people right. And when you treat the wrong people right and you treat the right people wrong, you can just blow it all the way at your ass. You just really can. How much disgrace can you bring on a town? And how much disrespect can people take?
Disgrace.
I can't believe it. I'm jealous of Nick's take. A little jealous. That's a strong opinion right there.
Yes, it was.
That's pretty damn strong. I agree with him about what he said about Wyatt Teller. And then when you got Jerry, I'm like, man, I wish I'd have thought about that. Because we ripped Jerry Jeudy up and down yesterday, but when you put them together, it's like, oh, no. Nick is right. I almost want to call him Mitch, want to call him Owen. I went through the larger people in my head. Nick is right. Nick is right. I got Jerry Jeudy blaming the media, blaming others, being short with everybody, ripping people on the sidelines, getting into it on the sidelines. Wyatt Teller has been, you go back to him getting everybody up during the playoff game. I mean, he's been a good, stable player for you for a long time. And I understand that, hey, just because they're our buddies doesn't mean they're going to stay there forever. But I agree with Nick. I think it's a bad move. I think it sends the wrong message to a lot of people. And I think it's part of the reason why things might be coming apart. And they've probably been coming apart. We're just starting to see some of this stuff now because they make it apparent.
And by the way, this is what happens towards the end of the year. I didn't expect it to be Wyatt Teller, but remember, Jadeveon Clowney. When did we start to hear stuff about him in his second year with the Browns? I mean, it's around this time of the year.
Exactly, because he had that situation after the Baltimore game, and that was in October, and we didn't hear about it until about this time. It was like early October, and we didn't hear about it until like December 13th or something like that. And then he tried to throw Mary Kay under the bus. It was totally, you want to talk about unprofessional. Good God. Go ahead.
We have a lot of heated takes. We had that one yesterday. We also had this seemingly alleged audio regarding the Penn State situation and how they may be focusing on Matt Campbell for their next head coaching position, obviously the Iowa State head coach. This is from Dead Air Sports on YouTube. This is leaked audio, apparently, of Penn State AD Pat Kraft and the situation with the coaches at Penn State.
I want y'all to know, too, if I don't get this right, my career is over. Understand that. If I don't hire the right person, my career is over. So it's very serious to me. This isn't like what people just think. You all are going to graduate and move on. If I don't find the right person, in 2 years they will fire my ass and I don't get another AD job. How could you up Penn State?
Is that real?
This is an audio.
That's real?
This is an audio clip that has been surfacing the last about 12 hours or so. It is a 35-minute chunk that is released on YouTube. And, there were other takes in there regarding Ohio State, Michigan, and their alleged activities. Oregon's quarterback shaking in overtime. So things are a little hot right now for Penn State, apparently.
So Lima and I are in a bit of an odd spot here because my phone keeps lighting up, and I keep looking at my phone because I have to look at my phone because we could break this news at any moment on this show.
I just tagged you to tweet, so...
Well, my phone keeps lighting up about other things. I think my buddies are just messing with me, so they're texting me other things because I know my phone's going to light up because today I'm waiting to be told about the situation with Penn State and Matt. And if I really, really, really wanted him to take the job, because I'm perfectly fine with him staying at Iowa State. He's very happy there. Very happy. If I really want him to take the job, I'd fly out there and start repeating this all to Pat Kraft. Because this is a bailout for Pat Kraft. This whole thing has been an absolute disaster. You got James Franklin, who, by the way, was like one step under Brian Kelly for like biggest a-holes in college football coaching circles. He was like one step under him in press conferences and stuff. He looks like the biggest baby face, biggest hero out of this whole thing. The crumble cookie trolling that he did.
I love that.
I thought it was like 5. He took like 10 or 11 guys from Penn State with him down to Virginia Tech, the recruits. Penn State's in a bad spot, and he's coming out smelling like roses. He's going to win 9 games next year in the ACC, maybe playing the ACC championship
Penn State's
game and
going to be
end up in
bad.
the playoffs.
I don't care who the coach is next year.
They're going to have a rough season next year. It's a little bit too late in the situation.
He's also having a tough situation right now. Green Bay basketball. They lost to Robert Morris last night, and this is head coach Doug Gottlieb, who's been on our show before after the game.
Unbelievably frustrating. You do everything, you prepare them, you get them right there, they have the game, and they got to bring it home. We get to the line 31 times, which is great. We shot 25 of 31, which is excellent, but we got to make the ones that count. So, we had a good basketball team, but we just gave that away.
Not only did he have that, but he was caught on the broadcast throwing a chair a la Bobby Knight. Yes. And this is from Scott Hughes on X. The University of Wisconsin Green Bay has suspended head coach Doug Gottlieb from his radio show for 1 week after Gottlieb threw a chair following the team loss.
He's suspended from his radio show?
That's a report from Scott Hughes, yes. That's what I'm wondering. He says he can still coach the team.
So if I took the job at, like, Brookside High School, I think their job's open, right? Could they suspend me from the fan if I got thrown out of a high school football game? But I'm telling you, he's a market corrector, Doug Gottlieb, because every now and then you see, like, the things is like, I know football. Can I coach up one of these high school football teams? Which I think there's a lot of high school football coaches going, I pray you try to take over at high school. I will get it run up on me.
Yeah, the thing
that's a market corrector.
The thing about Gottlieb, like his dad was a legendary coach. He has coached a bunch of teams like in the summer. He'd coached like legitimate talented teams. But to do the radio show and do this, like part of me is wondering, it's so much part of the gag. Like, was he using the radio show to boost up his basketball team, or was he using the basketball team to boost up his radio profile? Like, it was pretty crazy. If you saw what he did with the chair
video.
Yeah, they didn't get a great vantage point of it because he was going up the tunnel.
Yeah.
But, this is not going well.
8-34 his record is in a season and change.
What do they play here? Look at the girl in front of us. She's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he just threw the chair. Did you guys see he just threw a chair?
At Cleveland State on January 15th.
I know we talked about going last year. We might have to go this year.
Finally,
if he's still the coach.
Finally, here we got a winning team here. This is audio courtesy of Spectrum News 1.
Play clock and game clock are even, so they don't have to snap it again. The Avon Eagles have gone back-to-back. They are, for the second consecutive year, Division II state champions here in the Buckeye State. What a performance from Mike Elder and his kids.
37-20 last night, the Eagles win over in Canton. Second straight for the Eagles.
Lima just tweeted me something completely asinine, and I'll get to that coming up later. I want to congratulate Mike Elder.
Yes.
They have a juggernaut over there.
One of the best coaches in the state.
A machine. It is one of the best coaching jobs in the state. It's
That's
one of the best program building
there.
jobs in the state.
In fact, you could tell he's doing
one of the best programs in the state, clearly.
Here's how you could tell he is doing such a great job is that I'm hearing from some of the private schools, like, we used to get those kids that are staying in Avon. We used to get them, and now they're staying in Avon, and they're winning state championships.
It's outstanding. He's done an outstanding job. Congratulations to him. I got a chance to see a little bit of that culture when we were handing out the Friday Night Touchdown Player of the Year award, which is now the Danny Coughlin Memorial Player of the Year. And there was just things that I noticed in seeing that practice, especially at the end of the practice. I go, this is a top flight program. This is some good stuff here. So they've done a great job. Congratulations over there at Avon. Fantastic, remarkable stuff from them. And again, I don't have anything against the private schools, but when a public school does it, that's a pretty special thing.
Public schools have good programs. They have the reigning Mr. Ohio football player.
Oh, they do they?
They do. That's it for About Last Night.
All right, you want to do this next?
I wanted to see your reaction. Not exactly a list of household names with Mr. When I was young, Kenny, Mr. Football in the state of Ohio meant you were going to be star of stage and screen. Now it's
this is the type of thing that happens when you got Tennessee on the schedule in 2 days and you're 3-9. That's what happens. If they were 9-3, there's no way, there's not a chance in hell. Okay, fine. We'll have this out in 5 minutes and then we'll get back to business. And Boy, if Casper, the friendly ghostwriter, is one to say this about Evan Mobley, I'm starting to get nervous here. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, Daryl Ryder, 8:20 on the Fan. Peter and Company Jewelers. Okay, I probably should never sing that again. Either way, get the Peter and Company Jewelers in Avon Lake. December 11th, men's night. Men's night at Peter and Company Jewelers in Avon Lake. I'm going to be stopping by.
want to, and they would go to Deshaun. And so, like, for me, this is about them basically keeping Shedeur on his toes once again.
You don't have to do this. You can be smarter than this. You can read the room. This is not rocket science. You do not have to do this.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Daryl and 20. All right, you guys go ahead and do this. This is dumb.
Well, we had to congratulate the winner, the recipient of this year's
name.
Mr. Football. Mitch, who is this individual?
That is Indian Valley running back Grady Kinsey.
And he's going to play his college football at Air Force.
Correct.
Which is awesome. In fact, he beat out his future teammate. Is that true?
Yes, Braden DeVito, the Shelby quarterback.
So
home of the Whippets.
Yes, indeed.
You ever do Whippets?
So I actually never did.
I did.
I never did.
It was a hoot.
For what?
What's
5
the matter,
seconds?
Kayla? What?
5 seconds was
What's
fun?
the matter, Kayla?
I don't think many things are real stupid.
Kenny,
That's
we have
real
kids listening.
stupid.
They're at school now. I don't condone it. I'm
Put
just
your
saying.
brain in a microwave.
Oh yeah, so is that? Can I blame that for some of my takes lately? I told you that when my son was born, I didn't cry. I felt it was just this amazing situation. It felt like the first time I did Whippets. Where we went, whoa, 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 whoa. It was in the woods behind my parents' house. 14 years old.
And again, we don't condone it.
I don't condone it.
So I noticed here.
Don't do that sort of thing.
Kenny, I looked at some of the names in recent years that have won Mr. Football in the state of Ohio, and I'm like, wow. Not a lot of these guys are the names that I remember when I was young winning Mr. Football. It seems like a little bit different award. And so I asked you on social media, I said, I thought we were a powerhouse. What happened?
What is your problem?
I look back, 2001, it was Maurice Claret. Then it was Ben Mock. We will go ahead and bypass 2003. There was a documentary made about that young man. Tyrell Sutton in 2004. DeLon Carter started Syracuse for a few years. After that, Brandon Sane at Ohio State. So it was like one after the other. You could go back even further. Charles Woodson, Curtis Enos, Andy Katzenmoyer.
Why do you care?
I'm just saying, it seems like it's not the same award that it used to be.
Within the last 10 years, we've had
Mitch?
Joe Burrow, Mitch Trubisky, Cade Stover, Drew Aller, Jordan Marshall, who almost ran the Buckeyes off in that first quarter.
Oh, you almost ran him off the field?
I was a little nervous there at the beginning.
Stop. Yeah, because you're afraid of your own shadow. It's okay.
I am not. Well, I'll tell you, what I'm not afraid of. I am not afraid to defend because I know what you guys are doing in this segment.
What are we doing?
Ain't me.
You tell me. What are we doing?
I'm not attacking the high school kid. Ain't happening.
So this this Grady Kinsey again. Awesome that he's going to Air Force. Sounds like an unbelievably upstanding young man. What is he? 5'8"?
5'8",
That's the
205
best player in the state of Ohio?
Yes.
I mean, we're going to see Sincere
Johnson.
We're going to see Sincere Johnson star at Ohio State. This kid's better than him?
This kid put the entire offense of Indian Valley's on his back for the last 2 seasons and led them to a state championship they probably wouldn't have won otherwise.
So what would he do? Would he get playing time at St. Ed's?
Make me be
at St. Ed's, I think he would get some.
He'd get some, so that he's not the best player in the state of Ohio.
I don't know if he's going to be a starter.
Can he back me up?
At St. Ed's.
If he gets some carries at St. Ed's,
Division 4 guy
then
we're
he's
talking
not
about.
the best player in the state of Ohio. What are we doing? This is one of the top 7 states in the country.
How old is this young man?
He's a senior.
How old is he?
Oh, he's like
32.
18.
I just feel weird ripping this kid.
No,
I don't
we're
want to
not
rip
ripping
this
him.
kid.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It sounds like you're ripping him.
Who's voting for this award?
Sports writers in Ohio.
The Ohio Prep Sports Media Association. Yeah.
Okay.
I want an award from the OHSA.
What's the
I can't turn on my brethren.
What's the average age of the voter for Mr. Football in the state of Ohio?
Probably older than you and I.
And
What
where
are you
do they
trying
live?
to say?
Where do they live?
I don't know where they live. All over the state of Ohio. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Let me tell you, they don't vote for the Eastern District very much. He's only the third guy, I believe, in the history of the award to win from the Eastern District.
Not the vaunted Eastern District.
What's the competition in the vaunted Eastern District?
I mean, for Division 4 and Division 5, there's a couple of really good teams in there. We're not the biggest area.
What are we doing?
You are ridiculous.
What are we? Hey,
what are you
high school
doing?
football coaches, back me up here.
No, don't.
Where are my guys from St. Ed's? Where are the guys from Hogan?
Tom Lombardo's very busy.
Let me hear.
Ignatius can't call in. They're still looking.
What's he busy doing?
He's a very good-looking man. Maybe his hair. He's a very good-looking man.
There's a number of statistics I can put in here to back up Kinsey's win. He's ranking first in the OHSAA with 133 career touchdowns, second in total points, third in career rushing yards. The guy has done all this, and he doesn't even play in fourth quarters typically because the last 2 years,
I bet he does it.
Indian Valley was up so far ahead.
I bet he does it. Yeah, they were playing who again?
That they were
Tusky
just dominating.
Valley.
They were playing Tusky Valley at times.
Yeah, of course they were.
They had teams like Garaway. They had Sandy Valley in there.
When Garaway comes to town.
Hey, Garaway's good.
Oh,
Garaway's good.
They are good.
Garaway's good. All right,
Ridgewood.
you got their schedule. You are nasty. I can't believe you're doing this.
Best player in the state. It's the best we have to offer in Ohio.
Okay, hold on. Go ahead, Mitch. What
I
were
was
you
going
going
to say, they start off the year beating Uniontown Green up near Canton.
Let's call them Green. We're here. No, they're not near in Canton. They're closer to, I would say they're closer to Akron.
Give or take.
Maybe they're closer.
Shutout win at Steubenville week 2. How about that?
Whoa,
Okay,
look at him.
Steubenville, legitimate.
Against Roosevelt, 49-20. Buckeye Trail blowout win. Sandy Valley
Which
blowout
Roosevelt? Kent?
I want to say yes, but
I want to. No, you don't.
No, this is Washington, D.C.
Okay, they're playing a D.C. team.
Yeah,
that's a big
an out-of-state
schedule.
team. So you have that. You have Sandy Valley, Garaway win, Ridgewood win, Tusky Valley, Claymont, Circleville, Jonathan Alder.
Circleville.
And then the playoffs, you got Jonathan Alder and New Lexington, and then you had the close loss against Glenville.
Here's how you know.
I prefer the old Lexington, thank you.
In their division, how many football players are also in the marching band? That should tell you all you need to know about whether you're going up against the best players in the freaking state.
If you see this guy play, and we saw him play last year in Canton.
Come on, man.
He put a team on his back. He had about 5 touchdowns against a Perkins team that beat Glenville last season, and Indian Valley went toe-to-toe with them the entire game.
That was a really good game, and he's right. I agree with Mitch.
I got people tweeting, Mr. Football is as meaningful as NFL Coach of the Year now.
So I agree with you. I think this is as greasy as it's ever been on this show, Mitch. I hate that you have to argue this. However, I mean, if you're making me pick between Grady Kinsey, who's going to be one hell of a model American.
Thank you. Thank you for your future service.
I was going to say you can't thank him for his service yet, but for his future service, certainly. But if I got to pick between him and Sincere Johnson,
right? Come on. Put them next to each other.
This is something similar. This is something similar to the Heisman race this year. I mean, Julian Sayin might win the Heisman this year, but are you saying that Julian Sayin is the most professional ready player? He's the best overall player in college football?
That's true.
Or even on his own team?
No.
So we argue about the validity of the Heisman Trophy anymore. So I don't know if that's making the best point there, Mitch.
But it's the Heisman Trophy. And
you can say the Heisman however you want. It doesn't matter. That's going to make a difference.
They are looking.
He's called it the Heisman Trophy.
They are looking at
my mind.
The on-field prowess this year. They saw the 3 players, and I believe that they saw that Kinsey was the most efficient, most effective, most dominant player of those 3.
He had a great year, and congratulations to him. There's no chance he's a better football player than the kid going to Ohio State.
My buddy just texted you to shut up and dribble and stick to basketball.
Okay.
I swear to God.
Okay. What other offers did he get?
I have to go through and check the other offers he got.
Marietta?
Wait a minute. He's going to Air Force. Stop it.
He got a lot
Stop being nasty.
He got a lot of Ivy League ones too. He got Cornell, Dartmouth,
Air Force,
Colgate.
Cornell's
He'll be
good.
playing in the Crescent.
Columbia, Akron.
What is your problem?
Okay.
Could play for the Zips.
All right, Joe Moorhead.
Army.
What's
Those
your
are
problem?
all fine, upstanding institutions. I'll take the kid going to Ohio State as the better football player. Thank you, Mitch.
I need a shower. This is terrible.
Pat Olson, guess who came in second in Mr. Football voting? And there's a picture of young Mitch Spinell toting a football.
Yeah, that's from one of my older jobs. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Mitch was all Ohio.
Look at you.
He was
In
all
baseball,
Ohio in baseball.
yeah.
He was a lefty too. Let me see that grip
Look
on
at
that football.
That's better mechanics than I'm seeing today with some of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, you got it.
Look like what was that guy who was the Giants quarterback? He was like the backup that was big.
I don't know. You throw better. That was Jared Lorenzen.
Jared Lorenzen.
Hefty
I looked up
lefty.
Jared Lorenzen in that.
God rest his soul. He
Yeah.
was our quarterback guru for a minute.
Yeah.
Then he passed away. I'm not making a joke. He was going to be our QB guru, and then he passed away.
He was friend of the show. That's right. All right, thank you, Mitch.
All right, Mitch. Thank you for the time. I hope you feel good about yourself.
Dennis says, hopefully you don't get the same emails like Zach Jackson did.
Tell the kid, congratulations.
I will, and I'll tell his head coach as well.
I tell the head coach, and I don't approve of anything that's said on this side of the room.
Shout out to Coach Lancaster.
Okay. Congratulations, Coach Lancaster. I hope you feel good about yourself.
I said the kid had an amazing year.
Oh, my God.
I don't know why Ryan Day didn't take him. He's so good.
Stop it. Stop it. He's going to Air Force. He has a higher calling.
Yes, he does.
Air Force is hard to get into. Don't you need
yes, it is.
You need
Yes,
a senator to write something for you or something.
Yeah, you do.
Thank you. Kid, wherever you're at, I'm sorry.
Hack.
Terrible. Nathan, coming up at 9. Can we play the Cavs audio coming up in a bit?
We have new Cavs audio?
Or do you have a youth football team you'd like to rip next?
Men are greater than women.
Would you like
Women's
to do
basketball is a total joke.
Where did
Wait, what is
Don't
that?
say that. Where was that?
Was she just emptying out the old clips?
I think that's a quote of somebody else.
It was, yes.
That was from last July.
That needs to get out of the
2024.
system. That can be taken out of context. All right, coming up.
I think it just was.
I hate Ohio State. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Nathan Zagura going to join us on the show. Coming up at 8:20, which is next. Could Sunday really be the swan song for Kevin Stefanski? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on the Fan.
It's Anthony Lima for
during the regular season by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Miss one day and you miss a lot. We are the radio home of the Cleveland Browns.
Here we go, Brownies! Here we go!
92.3 The Fan.
All righty, it's time for the dangerous one. It is time for the dangerous one.
Daryl Ryder reports are powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
All right, Daryl, good morning to you.
Hey boys, how are we?
Oh, doing okay. It's good to see you. Good to hear you. Daryl, could Sunday be the coup de grace for Kevin Stefanski?
If they lose, it could be the end of Kevin Stefanski.
Okay.
But you know what? I don't get the impression that ownership right now has the appetite to make a change. That's the thing. Like that's not the sense that I'm getting.
Well, I don't think a lot of people do. I don't think that a lot of people get that. I'm just saying. Well, wait a minute. I think a lot of people want it. I don't think a lot of people feel that way.
Right.
And I think that may be a situation where I thought maybe Sunday, let me run this by you. If they decide to open up this offense, do you think that that's something Kevin Stefanski wants to do on Sunday?
No, I think what Kevin wants to do is I think he wants to continue to do what they have done with both these young quarterbacks, and that's try and keep things relatively conservative.
Okay.
I mean, they're, and understandably so. I'm not criticizing, but they're really hammering into these guys. Take care of the football. Mm-hmm. Don't do anything careless with it. Don't turn it over. And I think that when you're dealing with young players like this, they are thinking more than they're doing out there. And if you go back and you look at last week's game for Shedeur, you could tell he was thinking an awful lot. There were some windows there for him to throw the football, and he just wasn't pulling the trigger. And he admitted that on Wednesday when we spoke to him. And he used the phrase pull the trigger, and then he backtracked and said, hey, that's the wrong thing to say, but I do have to, when it's there, I've got to trust what I'm seeing, and I've got to get the football out and give guys opportunity to make plays. But that's all just part and parcel to this process. I mean, Shedeur's not even supposed to be starting right now.
No, but the reason I bring this up, I'm sorry, Daryl, the reason I bring this up is that the timing, and sometimes timing's just timing. But like the timing of the Jeremy Fowler, Dan Graziano report of like, hey, other teams are really, really interested in Kevin Stefanski if he were to be let go. And I'm going, I wonder if they're going to open it up on Sunday and Kevin doesn't really want him to open up. And I wonder if there's, because we don't know who's in charge of anything. So I'm like, directive is a strong word, but I'm going to use it. Is there a directive to go, hey, you're playing against Tennessee. Let's see if the kid can actually throw it. And maybe Kevin don't want to do it, and maybe Kevin thinks that things might go south on Sunday and there could be problems.
Well, that's kind of the boat that I'm in right now.
Wow, I thought you were going to tell me I was crazy.
No, because I asked Tommy Reese this yesterday, Ken. I just, in some form or fashion, I just said, hey, how are you balancing teaching these kids and really instilling in them to take care of the football, be careful, don't do anything careless, versus trying to see what these kids have and what they can do and just letting them go for it. And he gave me an answer, hey, it's predicated on what we're seeing from the defense, et cetera, et cetera. And that's all well and good, but I'm at a point now where take the training wheels off. Your season's over. You're 3-9. You are dead in the water, going nowhere, okay? So let's see what these kids can do. And right now, it's Shedeur Sanders. Let's see what he can do. And if he throws picks, if he makes mistakes, then that's what happens. What's the worst thing that's going to happen with that result? You're going to lose the game. Okay, well, what else is new? You've been losing all season anyway. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I understand you want to make sure you're teaching the good habits and things like that, but also let's take the training wheels off. Let's see what this kid can do. let it rip, and let the results fall where they may. And I think you get a truer evaluation as well.
Let me add something to you, Daryl. And I'm sure you've probably already said this before. You can't sit there and tell me all these things that you just gave me there, which I think you disagree with, obviously, and then turn around and, hey, we're gonna work in Tevin Jenkins here. We're going to play musical offensive lineman. Oh, by the way, we're trying to do what's best for Shedeur. We really think that he's going to be the future of the franchise in some fashion, but we're going to rotate in offensive linemen there, and especially put him in there on critical 4th and 1 situations there when he hasn't probably practiced it all week. So I can't hear any of that.
Yeah, well, I vehemently disagree with how they've handled the Wyatt Teller situation.
I agree with you.
I think it's classless. Okay, so he might be a little outspoken and honest in when he talks to us. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I respect that.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to sit a guy just because of how he talks to the media. I mean, look at Jerry Jeudy.
No, I know. I get it. I mean, here's the biggest issue I have. Since when do playing standards all of a sudden matter? You have not really done anything as far as accountability this entire season. Why start now? Have you watched the special teams unit this year? Have you watched Jerry Jeudy this year? Where's the accountability been for those guys? And now all of a sudden you're going to pick on someone who's been a multi-time Pro Bowler for you, been a good soldier for you, played hurt, done everything and anything that's been asked of him, played at a high level, and now that's the guy that you're going to point out and say, yeah, he's not really playing up to par right now, so we're going to sit him down and we're going to put a young kid in there. I'm sorry. I think that is just an absolutely horrendous way to lead a football organization and 53 men in a locker room. That's just ridiculous.
I mean, how do you perceive the quote thought partners, the guys who have been aligned on the same page? How do you perceive things are in that building right now that they are having another disastrous year, that now there's more national conversation about what happens with this front office, and knowing that with the Shedeur stuff going on and now Wyatt Teller, and then, oh, by the way, they have 2 first-round picks that make it likely that they're going to go in another direction in this offseason. What do you think the vibes are right now, Daryl?
I have no idea. I haven't seen I couldn't tell you the last time I saw Andrew Berry. Usually you see him walking out, going to practice and whatever, and I'm not saying he's not doing that. He's probably doing it when we get kicked out. But couldn't tell you the last time I saw Andrew Berry. He's in a bunker hiding somewhere.
No, I will say I've seen him. He's there.
Yeah, no, I know he is, Ken. I'm just saying.
I know, but
he usually is very visible when he's going to practice and things like that. So I have no idea. Listen, we know what the vibes were after the Joe Flacco trade, right? Kevin was in one corner, Andrew was in another corner. Kevin was taken by surprise by the whole deal. Although I don't know if Kevin should have been taken surprise by the whole deal. Maybe the whole Bengals thing is what threw him off, but that's neither here nor there. I have said this multiple times to you when it comes to the desire to make changes in that building, the way the Haslams work, what typically leads to the change isn't necessarily the results on the field. And yes, that is a factor. But what drives them to make change within their building is just what you're getting to, Anthony, and that is how the GM and the head coach, the front office, and the coaching staff are getting along. And if they are working together, if there's peace in the building, right? If people aren't running into the owner's office blaming the other party for what's gone wrong and things like that, I think that there's less of an appetite. But when you got finger pointing, you get yelling and screaming and trying to throw people under the bus and kissing up to the owner and whatnot, that's when they're just like, yeah, we're just not dealing with this. We're going to bring some other people in. I don't get the impression that that's happening. Both Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, they're grown adults, and they have handled themselves as such since getting here. That's not to say that they've always been in lockstep. Again, the Joe Flacco trade's exhibit A of them being on opposite sides of the fence, but they handle their business like grown adults, and that's why right now, and I realize they're 3-9, it's pretty bleak, I just don't get the impression that Browns ownership is ready to fire people because of all the mitigating circumstances that we have been bellyaching about the last couple of years.
All right, Daryl Ryder joined us on the hotline. So there have been quite a lot of film gurus, and even I saw, was it Luke McCown getting on a Jay Gruden? Basically,
this is the most wonderful time of year. We've had former NFL insider relatives emailing and DM reporters. That same group DMing and then blocking reporters. We've got family members jumping on social media saying things. We've got fiancés on social media. It is just your normal December for the Cleveland Browns in Berea right now.
Well, given all of that, and basically I think it's kind of been a consensus from all the people watching film, is that it's only 2.5 games. You never judge anybody definitively on 2.5 games, but they're all seeing the same thing out of Shedeur, which is flash play potential.
Yep.
But at the same time, way late, not processing quick enough.
Yep.
No anticipatory throws. So what has been your thoughts on the Shedeur experience so far?
I agree with those assessments. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Anthony, you go back and you look at that game last week against San Francisco. There were some opportunities down the field. He just wasn't trusting what he was seeing. And again, the trust word keeps coming up. And this goes back to training camp in the offseason and how they handle these quarterbacks. He hasn't had a lot of time with these folks. He trusts Gage Lavardin more than he trusts Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku right now. As crazy as that sounds, but that's because he's worked with Gage Lavardin a little bit. Hasn't worked with those guys as much. And that goes back to how they handled this whole quarterback situation. And he talked extensively again on Wednesday about trust and trying to build that trust. And the way to do it is by the reps. Jerry Jeudy asked about it, and he said same thing. Got to have the repetition so everybody's on the same page. And maybe Jerry's not spending 5 minutes yelling and screaming at Shedeur Sanders, even though nobody's yelling and screaming at Jerry Jeudy when he's dropping footballs that hit him in hands or he's fumbling the ball and blowing scoring opportunities. But that's neither here nor there. So, this is all part of this process, and I don't know how throughout the practice week or the structure of that week that you can build that trust. But at some point, Shedeur is going to have to see those windows and take some chances and get the football to those guys. The play that really stood out to me was the overthrow. And after going back and watching it, my mistake was thinking, he overthrew him and that was the end. But if you rewind 2 seconds earlier, you'll see that Jerry clearly had the angle on that, and had Shedeur gotten him the ball then instead of waiting, then we're not talking about the overthrow. We're talking about Jerry taking the ball to the house because it was a perfect angle to catch and run with it. And those are the areas where I think Shedeur has to grow. And footwork is still a little sloppy too. But again, he's a 5th-round pick, and I think we're seeing some of the things as to why he was a 5th-round pick and not this big grand conspiracy to torpedo this kid's career like some folks want to put out there.
You an Ohio State fan?
Yes, I am. Ken, I was upset at you were not excited they beat Michigan last week.
Ooh, tough talking, Daryl. I'm just saying, sorry.
No, that's all right. I forgive you.
Daryl, do you want Fernando Mendoza to play well tomorrow night?
Yes, but not well enough to beat Ohio State, that's for sure.
Okay.
I think there's a fine line there. It's like watching fantasy football, right? I'm rooting for certain guys to play well for my fantasy team, but I don't want them to win the game.
But say they beat Ohio State.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Okay, hold on. You got a whole playoffs coming up after this. I mean, you've lost big games before and ended up winning the national championship. Hold on now.
Ryan Day's got a pretty good streak against top 5 teams going right now. I want to see that ball roll down the hill more.
I'm taking Ohio State to win, but say you lost tomorrow. All right?
Yeah,
Would part of you feel okay? Because there ain't no way they're going to beat Ohio State without him playing really, really well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If Mendoza does not play well, they're not beating the Buckeyes tomorrow night. If he does play well and they beat the Buckeyes, I think that really injects even more life into his draft stock, and probably makes him top quarterback in the class, depending who's coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, if he beats the Buckeyes, that puts Indiana in the college football playoff, and then obviously he needs to play well in the college football playoff. But, that would certainly jump him, I think, up some draft boards.
All right, Daryl, thank you very much for the time.
Have a good one. Have a great weekend.
Daryl Ryder.
Brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Outstanding as always. Coming up at 9 o'clock, the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder. Or excuse me, coming up at 9 o'clock, Nathan Zagura. We just had the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder. I beg your pardon. Do you want to be conservative Sunday, or do you want to see Shedeur let her rip? We'll talk to Nathan about that coming up at 9 o'clock. We got two big things to go over. One is that Mendoza question I want to jump back into, and if this guy's saying it, it probably ain't good for Evan Mobley. Who's this guy? We'll tell you coming up in 5 on The Fan. Daryl, do you want Fernando Mendoza to play well tomorrow night?
Yes, but not well enough to beat Ohio State, that's for sure. If Mendoza does not play well, they're not beating the Buckeyes tomorrow night. If he does play well and they beat the Buckeyes, I think that really injects even more life into his draft stock. Probably makes him top quarterback in the class, depending who's coming out. That puts Indiana in the college football playoff, and then obviously he needs to play well in the college football playoff. But yeah, that would certainly jump him, I think, up some draft boards.
All right, that was Daryl Ryder just a moment ago talking about Fernando Mendoza. It's a very weird spot. I mean, I know how we think, and I know how people think about people who play for Ohio State or against Ohio State. If he beats Ohio State, I remember this with Baker very succinctly. If he beats Ohio State, and he's talked about to be one of the top quarterback, that is going to rocket him right up most of our callers' boards. Unless Shooter Sanders is really good on Sunday, but we'll talk about that when that happens. If he does it, it's going to change things. And I want him to do it, to be honest with you, because, one, I'm not an Ohio State fan. Guys, I don't mean for you guys to cuss me out over this. I'm not trying to troll you. You're going to probably win the national championship. I'd pick you to win the national championship. I think you're going to win this game tomorrow. But if he does well, it gets the scaredy cats out of here. The ones I already got one here, and I can't go after them all. I can't correct everybody, and they think I'm the biggest idiot who ever lived because, we got to take an offensive lineman. This is not the year, guys. It's never been the year. Well, they got to be a generational talent. There's so many guys that have not been generational talents, and you would drive there and then carry them on your shoulders back to this city to play for this football team. So many of these guys. And it will just make everything so much easier if Fernando Mendoza on this defense, has a hell of a game tomorrow. It'll make things so much harder if he gets figured out tomorrow, and there's a big problem. Thinking, but there we are.
Which game is bigger for their NFL futures? Is it Shedeur versus Tennessee in a game that he should be able to move the football against? Or is it Fernando Mendoza against Ohio State?
It is Shedeur, because he only has so many games left. Fernando Mendoza.
That's a good
point. Mendoza will be a top 3 pick probably no matter what.
They'll look at the big picture, right?
Yes.
They'll look at everything.
They'll look at the big picture. But it's a big game. Don't get me wrong, because those are NFL players playing across from
that
tomorrow
thing,
night.
that is so true, Kenny, because people hate it when we say 5th round pick, because eventually once you're in the league, you're in the league. But one thing we do know is when you're a 1st round pick, you'll get multiple opportunities. You'll get even Josh Rosen. But look at all the 1st round picks. Like, people are saying Kyler Murray will be quarterbacking a team next year. Would that happen if Kyler Murray was a 5th round pick? No, it wouldn't. It'd be over. So you're exactly right. And by the way, I know we didn't queue up the Market Watch. Did you see what it's going to cost you if you want to go see Fernando Mendoza against an Ohio State defense?
Yes. Do you have Market Watch, Kayla? She might not have Market Watch, so go ahead and do the Market Watch.
So, see, this is what Owen does. He buries the sound so that anybody that fills in for him can't look.
No, that was another guy. That was the man in the vest. The man in the dead man's vest used to do that. Oh, we got it.
My mission is simple.
Owen, I apologize.
To make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now.
Now I was told it used to mean more in the SEC. SEC championship game, get-in price, you get in there at $240. Get-in price for Ohio State, Indiana? Kenny, I had to double-check this because I thought there was no chance. This was
How much is the SEC one again?
$250.
$250, okay.
If you want to go in and watch Fernando Mendoza against Ohio State, $723 the get-in price. Sitting in the nosebleeds in that temperature-controlled climate, $723.
Well, you're playing against a team that hasn't been here.
Dude, these are Super Bowl prices.
They've never been in the Big Ten championship game. They haven't won a Big Ten title since '67.
So this makes me think.
Yeah.
I'm like, Ohio State will have the home field advantage no matter where they go. Oh. No, not this week. I actually think Indiana will have more fans.
It's been 5. Well, you won't be able. You'll barely be able to tell. The Reds are a little bit different.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Ohio. It's been 5 years since Ohio State has Won a Big Ten championship game? When's the last time they played in the Big Ten championship game?
Oh, it's
been over 5 years.
You got to go back to 2019.
Okay, so it's been 6 years since they played the Big Ten championship game. It's close.
I think this is the Super Bowl for Indiana right now. Now, I know that they have the playoffs too, and they're going to have a bye and all that.
Yeah.
But they're not getting a home game because, unless they get drubbed. If they get blown out, then could they actually lose that bye? Probably, right? If they get blown out.
Yeah.
But for Ohio State, the fans just paid all that money last year to go see them en route to a national championship. The ones that can actually afford to do this stuff and travel to these games, they might be saving their money. They might be saving their money for a playoff
Probably,
run.
I think you're right about that. Yeah, there could be a significant amount of Indiana fans because this is
the biggest moment in Indiana football history, right?
Yeah. I said 67. I wasn't alive back then, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, I'd have to say so. I mean, the last time, good God, I went to Bloomington one time, and there were pictures all over the place at the time they beat Ohio State in '88. So it's a big deal to them to beat Ohio State. So yeah, I would say that this is it. Because I remember commenting on the game last week when they played Michigan, and I was like, man, I think a lot of Michigan fans thought that they were going to lose that game, and they were just like, I'm not going to see them just celebrate. This is the year we lose. I'm not going to go see them celebrate in our building because there was a lot of red in those stands. I know that you were at the YSU game, so you didn't really get to see it. There were a lot of red in those stands.
Yeah,
Tone.
you said that.
There was a lot of Ohio State fans. Maybe they went up there and they're going to go, okay, let's see what they do, and then you kind of go to the playoff games because you get to host a playoff game, right? Or did they still have the weird first round bye thing?
Wait, for who?
Did they fix the first round bye thing where you still get to host a playoff game, or is that not going to happen?
If you have a bye, you do not have a game on campus.
Okay, so they're going to have a bye, and then that's it. So, yeah, they'll probably just travel to the destinations, and that's the way that one's going to go. 216-474-0092. What?
Nothing? Are you getting anything?
No, I'm getting texts from everybody and their sister right now, and it's...
We are waiting for those just joining the show.
Well, yeah,
we are waiting on news to see who the next head coach is at Penn State.
Guys, we know that Indianapolis is close to Bloomington.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah, but
it's
that's
also kind of close to...
Yeah, but Ohio State, they take over these games. Every time I've been at Indy, Ohio State just completely takes over the stadium. It's like 75-25, no matter what.
Oh, so here we go. Keith texts us and says, Indiana basketball... If it matters anymore. It's a football school now, folks. Indiana basketball also plays Louisville at the Pacers Arena tomorrow afternoon, so Indiana fans are going to be flooding Indy. Okay.
Yeah,
two birds stoned at once. There you go.
Awesome experience.
I can't read that text. That's a personal price text.
Isn't that crazy to you? If you would have told
Everybody and their brother just wants to text me this morning because they know I'm waiting on another text.
We are waiting.
I appreciate the gamesmanship to all my friends who are messing with me right now. Go right on ahead.
And we got calls about Mendoza, so we should go to him. But if you would have told me a few years ago that, hey, Big Ten is going to expand, you're going to bring in USC, you're going to bring in
Indiana
Oregon,
is going to be in the Big Ten championship,
and then money, it's going to be the Wild Wild West. I would have said Indiana will finish in the bottom of the Big Ten.
Credit where it's due, because I've long thought that the Big Ten expanding to 18 teams. I think that eventually I don't know if you'll ever have super conferencing because it might be AFC, NFC type of thing. But I think that you'll start to look at it and go, why am I giving Team X this amount of the pie, the TV money, when they're not going to invest in football? Indiana, I think, took that very seriously, and they've certainly invested in football. You're seeing Northwestern invest in football with that beautiful stadium that they're building right now. You're seeing Michigan State. I don't know if you paid attention to that. Not just Pat Fitzgerald. They're getting an influx of cash. They're investing in football because I do think that 18 teams is a lot where you might see some traditional Big Ten teams get the bye if they're not going to really invest in football. And Indiana's been willing to do that. All right, you want to go to the phones?
Oh, yeah.
Fine. Jerry in Cleveland. Hello, Jerry.
Jerry.
What's going on, brother? How y'all doing?
We're doing well, Jerry. Go right on ahead.
Let me ask y'all a great question. I'm just going to throw it out here. Numbers don't lie, right? Numbers don't lie.
I think numbers lie.
I can make them lie very easily.
Numbers lie constantly.
Okay.
But go ahead. All right, what?
So if Mendoza's senior year, if his numbers look like this, 353 or 477 with a 74%, 4,134 yards.
I'm already bored. What are you getting to?
I know what he's getting to. I know whose stats those were.
Here's my question. How in the world can we see stats like that and still trying to keep on talking about the kid can't play? His 4 receivers in college
Who, Mendoza?
are better than the receivers that he got on the team right now.
Who's saying Mendoza can't play?
He ain't having 20 games, man. I know where the kid come from. I'm from Mississippi. I watched the kid. Trust me. He can't play.
Fernando Mendoza can't play?
Y'all will be back in the same situation y'all was now. I'm trying to tell you.
What don't you like about him?
Okay, fine.
What don't you like about Mendoza?
Do you want to talk about Dante Moore?
Here's my thing.
By the way, the all-time passing yards record in college football is Bailey Zappi.
I don't want to have a big draft. I don't want to have a big draft conversation now, guys. I got 4 months after the season.
What? And I don't want to have a conversation with y'all, but what I got to do is this: I got to see proof. I got to see you standing there. I got to see it. Shedeur Sanders had the worst offensive line in 2 years.
He did.
Probably
It was
worse than
bad.
the one he got now. He stood in that pocket and dropped dimes. Go back and watch the games.
Wait, you think I didn't watch Colorado over the last 2 years? Are you nuts?
I'm not saying you didn't, Ken, but I believe you're a smart man. I've listened to y'all for a whole year since I moved up here from Mississippi, and I know for a fact y'all. At least I'm wondering about Anthony, but I know you know ball.
Wait, Jason Whitlock, he agreed with me, not Ken. Come on.
He called me the chubby guy on the right who was scared to death.
To both of you guys, y'all know the kid can play football. The offense is ass.
He can play football.
Line is ass. Cedric Tillman is ass. Jerry Judy been ass. And Joku, the tight end y'all got, he's more concerned about being a celebrity than a football player.
Now that's not true. That I have to stop you on.
He's more concerned about being a celebrity than a football player.
We were at a nice event. We were at a nice charity event for Thanksgiving with David.
What's he
Come
in? Is he on a TV show that I don't know about now?
Listen, it don't matter if he's not on a TV show. Again, I'm going about body language and personality.
No.
The kid is more concerned. Listen, he's more concerned about smiling and waving in the stands than running a comeback route to get that pass. Jerry Judy, he's more worried. Hey, Jerry Judy, on that play that y'all keep talking about that Shedeur missed, watch how long it took him to come off the line to get across that crossing route. Watch how long it took him. Watch how long it took him to get that release. Cedric Tillman ain't ran a comeback 12-10 yet.
I'm not fighting you on those. No, I don't like to call players ass. I will admit that. I don't like to do that. I'm not fighting you on any of those. Jerry, listen, he's going to get a chance on Sunday. Tennessee's a terrible team. He throws the ball around and completes a lot of passes. There it is. But you know as well as I know, man. You know this. Jerry, you know this. You know it very well. If he goes out there and it's just the same old over the last 2 games, I think a lot of people are going to close their book on him.
Kim, I'm going to end it with this. I was a pretty good high school football player. I went to Ole Miss.
Congratulations. Wait a minute. Whoa. Stay with me. Don't go anywhere. You went to Ole Miss?
Yes, sir. I played ball at Ole Miss, and I was pretty good. I was
for who?
I played under Tommy Tuberville.
Oh, my God. So you do you hate Lane Kiffin, or what's going on there?
Well, so let me tell you the story about Lane. I knew Lane was gone 2 years ago. So watch the interview Lane gave. Lane was gone 2 years ago. Ole Miss knew it too. Lane was gone. Lane gave an interview about the blue bloods and all the money, whatever. Lane, they folks knew Lane was gone. Ole Miss, and again, I'm from there. So
Jerry, are they hitting you up for money? Are they hitting you up for money?
No, Lane is what you call a severe narcissist.
Yes.
If it doesn't evolve around him, the show don't go. And everybody knows that about Lane.
Jerry, is the story true? Oh, gosh, I wish we weren't up against it. Let me just ask one more question. Is the story true that Tommy Tuberville said the only way he was leaving Oxford was in a pine box, and that the plane to Auburn was actually called the Pine Box?
I'm going to give you even better. Eddie Graham was my running back coach when I was down there. I sent Eddie Graham a text message. They was gone the day before he left. He wasn't even there that night. He was gone that day.
Wait a minute. You sent a text message in like 1996?
No, Eddie Graham. I never forget it. I'm from Pontotoc, Mississippi. Eddie Graham was on the running back coach staff. When Tuberville pulled that stunt that night, when he left that night, I got a text message from Eddie Graham. Him and half the coordinators was already in Auburn.
I love that. Do not be a stranger, Jerry.
All right, Jerry, it was the best call of the morning. Thank you so much.
Brother, be good.
Thank you. Jerry in Cleveland. He left in 98. Odds 2 years off. Okay, maybe he did. That was incredible.
I mean, that is a U.S. senator we are talking about.
I've said things about other U.S. senators. Speaking of,
Al Franken.
It's coming in hot at 9:45. Coming in hot at 9:45. I'm not going to share that opinion that you have about Al Franken. That's coming up at 9:40. No, that opinion ain't coming up at 9:45. Coming in hot's at 9:45. Up next, Do you want to be conservative Sunday, speaking of politics, or do you want him to turn Shedeur loose, turn it up, and rip the knob off? We'll find out with Nathan Zagura coming up in 5 on The Fan.
Now that Whitlock likes me, people might think I'm conservative. Hey, everybody, it's time to talk about the real estate.
Weeknights at 7. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Coming in hot, 9:45. Please keep your comments within the boundaries of good taste. Nothing about high school football players and Mr. Football. Terrible. Bad person. Nathan Zagura joins us right now.
Good person, Nathan Zagura.
Yeah, Nathan Zagura, good person. He joins us on the fan hotline. Hello, Nathan.
Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Lima. How you guys doing?
Doing wonderful here. Do you want to be conservative on Sunday, or in the words of Paul Allen, turn Shedeur loose?
I want to win. I want to win that football game. And I think it's the game where you can turn Shedeur loose a little bit, because I think that defensively we have such an advantage over the Tennessee Titans. Their quarterback Cam Ward's been sacked more than any quarterback in the league. This is a game where I think if the Browns can build a lead, running backs have had a lot of success, so I do think this is going to be a big Quinshon Judkins game. And I really liked last week that, we got Quinshon back involved in the passing game. He'd gone 2 games in a row without a catch, 4 of the last 6 without a catch, so it was good to see him get there. But yeah, I think you want Shedeur to keep showing improvement. That first half last week was really good, and I thought Tommy Rees in particular did a great job of creating some clearly defined reads, getting him on some of those sprint outs, running some of those screens. And then in the second half, there were some of those inward breaking routes that were open, and I think that's where a lot of the frustration from Jerry Jeudy came, is there were multiple times that second half where he was open, and Shedeur just didn't rip it. So I would say, yes, turn him loose. Trust that even if you throw one of those, with a little anticipation, that's kind of the next step, I think, for him, and something bad happens, this defense is going to have your back. So I really look at this kind of final stretch of the season as an opportunity every week for Shedeur to get better, to turn him loose, and to see, what he can be. We've seen the top-level talent that he has, the upside that he has. It's some of the other things, the footwork. It's the willingness to throw it with a little more anticipation. Those are the things that he needs to work on. So, yeah, turn him loose. To me, that's what this is about, right? Isn't that the biggest question facing this franchise is, yes, can Shedeur Sanders be the guy for you? And I think the only way to understand that is, to keep, making things, putting in good game plans that are smart for him, but at the same time saying, okay, young fella, let it rip and let's see what this looks like.
Nathan, I totally agree. And look, I'm not in that building, so I don't have to worry about how losing impacts everything. And so selfishly, do they need to run the football and do all the things that a good football team should do to try to win games, and that's their strength? Then I understand that, but I also selfishly want to see the 5th rounder, because you're running out of real estate here. And 5th round picks don't often get, a big runway. They have their limited opportunities, and they have to make the most of them. So I kind of want to see some of that talent that we've seen flash and more. When you're watching, Tyler Shook in New Orleans, they're just letting him go out there and play football. And he has had a ton of splash plays. And I feel like Shedeur could do that too, but he needs that opportunity.
Agreed. And we've seen some of the splash plays, right? He already has 4 pass plays of 34 yards or more in the last 2 weeks. But I'm with you. I think that you want to see what he can be. And each week put a little bit more on his plate. Each week ask him to do a little bit more. And I know this week in practice, there's been kind of a real emphasis for him on, when you see that inward breaking route against his own coverage and you see you're throwing it into the window and you have to trust that your receiver is going to be there. And that's one of the things Shedeur talked about post-game, was that trust that comes from reps and understanding exactly how a guy's going to run his routes, exactly where he's going to be and when he's going to be there. Because in the NFL, it's not so simple, right? You can't just wait and say, okay, I'm going to see this guy open and then throw it. That's just not how the game works. It's just far too fast for that. So I think that's really part of it. I know it's been a point of emphasis this week, and I will say this, Shedeur's done a very good job of whatever kind of the point of the emphasis for the week has been, taking that to the game. Remember, after the first one, it was like, make sure you're climbing the pocket. Let's not try to escape out the back. And if you look at the next 2 weeks after that Ravens game, he did a much better job. He took the one bad sack, I would say, against the Niners, but for the most part, did a good job. You look at the touchdown pass to Harold Sanders, climbed the pocket, delivered that football. That was, by the way, a great play design and a great play call that came out of our bye week preparation, where the Browns were looking around the league and saying, what are some other teams doing for their tight ends to try to find some more plays for Harold Sanders? And that was one that came out of the bye week, that they were waiting for the right time to get it. They got the quarters look from the Niners, and boom, that hit the touchdown. So I'm excited to see, as this thing goes, him opening up more, understanding those points of emphasis, applying himself and getting better. And you talk to the guys, they're seeing him get better in practice every week. It's a little bit crisper. The ball's out a little bit quicker. Those are the things we want to see translate and take to the field on Sunday against the Titans, who are not a great defense. This is not a great defense. This is the only thing they're in the top half of the league in is getting after the quarterback. They've got 30 sacks on the season. That's the only thing that they're kind of decent at. Other than that, you're looking at their starting corners are an undrafted free agent and a 6th-round rookie. You have an opportunity to get after this football team.
Nathan Segura joining us on the Fan Hotline. How you get Jerry Jeudy going?
I think it's just part of it is in rhythm. Jerry Jeudy, I think if you go back and you watch the All-22 and take away even that first one, obviously that would have been a big one, but where Shedeur just kind of overshot it, thinking the wind was going to hold the football up a little bit more. He was open quite a bit in that game. You got to just be able to find him, get him the football, get him in rhythm. And I like, the idea last week, they got an early catch to him to try to get it going. And I thought from a route running standpoint, in terms of getting open, Jerry Jeudy had one of his better games. It's really just when the guy's open, you need the protection to be good, right? You need the quarterback to trust it and to rip it. And I think one of the things for Shedeur is when not only having that anticipation, but it's also understanding that your feet have to match your progressions. And so when you're going from 1 to 2, or you're reading, even if you're reading just one thing and you're going from 1 to 2, your feet have to move with your eyes. I remember a lot of guys that we've had in here going all the way back to Kyle, from Kevin, Alex Van Pelt. They always talked about that the quarterback's feet have to mirror their eyes so that when you see it, you're able to throw. You don't have to then make another adjustment with your feet. And I think sometimes that's been a little bit of the issue. And I think if that can get cleaned up a little bit, I think you're going to see Jerry Jeudy be more productive this week.
All right, Nathan, just looking at what has been going on the offensive line, can you make any sense? I mean, now we know Wyatt Teller's hurt, but can you make sense of some of the decision-making and how that could set them up maybe for next year, which is going to be a very challenging year given the contract situation for these guys?
Yeah, I think that, they wanted to get a look at Tevin Jenkins, and I think it caught a lot of people by surprise, myself included, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm a big Wyatt Teller fan. Wyatt Teller's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He's been, a 2-time second-team All-Pro. He has been one of the stalwarts of this line and somebody that I think brings a great attitude, a great effort, and, a great performance. Now, he said himself that his performance this year thus far hasn't been up to his standards, and I think it's as simple as they wanted to get a look at Tevin Jenkins. Tevin Jenkins, was a former 2nd-round pick of the Chicago Bears, the guy who started about 38 games, but they haven't seen him really play in this system. Now you're going to get that opportunity due to the unfortunate injury to Wyatt, who I thought played really well, Wyatt, in this last game. And I thought Tevin Jenkins did a good job as well against the 49ers. It was very surprising, but you're looking at a line right now that the Browns have to make some real decisions on. Joel Bitonio's in the last year of his contract, and this could be the last year that he plays football. Ethan Postic's in the last year of his contract. Wyatt Teller's in the last year of his contract. Jack Conklin's in the last year of his contract. So you're looking at your starting offensive line and you're saying, what's the future look like? What does this team look like? And I think they're trying to see if perhaps Tevin Jenkins is a guy who would be a little more economical, if he's somebody that could be a part of that future for the Cleveland Browns. But I will say I was surprised, and I think a lot of people were, but, hopefully, Wyatt comes back from this injury and is as good as he always was, because I think Wyatt Teller is an excellent Cleveland Brown and an excellent offensive lineman.
Nathan Segura joining us on the Fan Hotline. Lions won last night. Did you watch that game?
I did.
What did you think of George Pickens and now all the cuts that are being put together of George Pickens half-assing it?
So that's kind of been in some ways a little bit of the knock on him, right? It's certainly not a talent issue. I was surprised. I think in some of those cases, maybe he sees the safety over top. He knows the ball's not going to him. But, yeah, George Pickens has had a great year. Let's just be pretty clear about that. George Pickens has had a fantastic season for the Dallas Cowboys, and he's going to get paid a lot. But that's one of the things that, if you're his agent and you're talking to him and you're saying, listen, right now, the way you're playing, you could be a $25 million a year plus guy, like a legit true number one type guy. Don't give them any reason not to do that. And I think that would be kind of the takeaway there. But he is an electric receiver. And I remember talking to some of our guys, he's one of the tougher guys to cover one-on-one because he's just big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's got great hands. He's a tough cover.
All right, Nathan, I wanted to get one Myles Garrett question in there, back to the Browns quickly, because
I thought you were ready to move on around the league.
Well,
I
was, but
I'm sorry for messing it up, Nathan.
Well, Nathan, I feel bad because Myles is dominating so much that people have run out of things to say about him. And you could see, if you heard the dialogue between him and Brock Purdy last game with NFL Films, like these guys are in awe of Myles, and they just expect him now to get to the quarterback and have opportunities to get, this sack record. So what are we looking at here? And have you run out of ways to talk about Myles Garrett?
We're witnessing real, true greatness, like once-in-a-lifetime greatness. He's doing things that have never been done before. And, that Euro step move on Trent Williams is going to be a first-ballot gold jacket. And to not even have him touch him was just wild to me. I thought it was he moves in ways that guys his size shouldn't be able to move. I think that he's also this year, benefited from, what Malik Collins was bringing. Even though Mason Graham doesn't have the sack numbers, what he's been bringing in the middle, we're such a complete pass rushing unit that there's really nowhere for quarterbacks to go. So even if you do double team him, he's still so good. It doesn't matter. I think we're witnessing history. I do think he will end up setting the sack record if he stays healthy. And, not only that, here's the other one is, it's not just the sacks, it's the tackles for a loss. It's the way he plays the run game. It's the guy who, if you go back prior to the season, kind of went on a little bit of a campaign. I want to leave Cleveland. I want to play for a champion. He gets the big contract. He ends up staying here. This season is not going the way that he wanted from a win-loss perspective. It would be so easy for, Myles to say, this is beneath me. And he doesn't. His leadership this year has been excellent. His performance off the charts. He had this 4-game stretch where he had 13 sacks. 13 sacks at one point in 4 games. He has as many sacks as anybody else in the league in the season, Brian Burns, and as many as the team that we played last week, the San Francisco 49ers, prior to that game. So I think that we're seeing just unbelievable historic greatness. This is a game where if the Browns can get the right script going, if the Browns can get out to a lead and we can turn the second half for Cam Ward, kind of like we did in Vegas for Geno Smith, where he had to throw, he could set the record in this one. And I go back to tackles for loss. So right now, Myles is at 28 tackles for loss. 22, 23, 22. That's what led the league in that category each of the last 3 seasons. There's only been one player who's ever achieved 30 tackles for a loss in a season. That was J.J. Watt at 39. Myles is on pace to not only set the sack record, but he could be the first guy to ever get to 40 tackles for a loss in a season. He certainly is going to be the second player to ever get to 30 tackles for loss in a season. We're talking just unbelievable greatness. And I wish it was happening on a team where, we were 9-3 instead of 3-9, because if it were, I really think Myles Garrett would have a chance to be a defensive player who wins the MVP.
What is the plans to bring along Deshaun Watson in your estimation?
That's a great question. I think right now you're just seeing, he's worked hard. You're going to give him an opportunity to practice with his teammates, and we'll see how it goes over the next 21 days. I don't know that he's necessarily going to be able to be in what you would call football game shape at any point this season, but I think it's an opportunity to let him get out there and be around the teammates and practice football, something that he's worked, very hard to get back to after suffering, that torn Achilles and then the second torn Achilles. So that's really kind of the way I look at it. I really think this is going to be kind of Shador's opportunity here over the end of the season, and I think Deshaun they'll bring back. And I'm not sure if he's going to make it to the 53-man roster, if they'll activate him or what. We'll see how that goes over the next 21 days.
Are we seeing the final games of Mike Tomlin as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Oh, now we can talk around the NFL. Okay, fine, great. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got the memo, Ken. Good. I don't know. And it's wild. They're booing Renegade. It's the state of Pennsylvania right now is a little bit wild to me from their football fandom. So the Eagles obviously are the defending Super Bowl champs, right? They're 8-4. You can't win every game in the NFL. It's just very hard to do. They're getting booed out of their building. They're 8-4, and they just won the Super Bowl last year, and they've won 2 Super Bowls, since 2017. Then in Pittsburgh, now I know they haven't had the playoff success, and that's a big deal, obviously, and that is a very valid thing. I would also say I'm not so sure that they've had the quarterback that they've needed, really since kind of Roethlisberger wound down and his career kind of came to an end. But Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. They're still as bad as it's been, and that's what's so unfortunate for us this year is that this division 6-6 has you in a tie for first place right now. But they're booing Renegade. And Siciliano loved that. They're booing Renegade. They're booing Tomlin. They're chanting fire Tomlin. Guy's never had a losing season for them. It's kind of a wild thing, but it does feel like, and maybe he may say, what, to heck with this. Like, forget this is you ungrateful guys. But yeah, it feels like change could be brewing in Pittsburgh, which is just a wild thing. Now I think they're getting lucky. I think we're going to find out at the end of the season when this one's over, Lamar Jackson's going to have like 3 surgeries on his body somewhere, probably his feet, because he has not been the same, and that might be what saves, the Steelers and allows them to win the division again. But it's certainly going to be very interesting, and obviously that's a huge game coming up this weekend.
I think Roethlisberger secretly loves it. I think he loves it.
Why do you think so?
I think he loves it. That
people miss him like it was him.
Yes,
just like it was Brady, not Belichick.
Yes,
it was me, not Tomlin.
He's always had an insatiable ego. I think he loves this. I think he loves that they struggle with their quarterbacks. I think he loves that Aaron Rodgers is not the Aaron Rodgers that we knew of him, certainly anymore. I think he loves it that he's the missing link.
Certainly not.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest, though, Ben. You were also there after 2016, and the last time I remember the Browns played the Steelers in the playoffs, Ben Roethlisberger was sitting on the bench at the end of the game with tears in his eyes with Pouncey after the Browns had just gone in there and beaten them.
Oh, it was a beating. It was a beating, all right.
Oh, it was a beating. It was a beating. And as I always like to say, I'm one of the very, and I mean this in all sincerity, one of the few hundred that were there for that game.
What a moment. All right.
It was a moment.
Nathan, thank you very much for the time. All the very best to you and yours.
Right,
yeah.
Absolute pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you.
Yes. Nathan Zagura, Browns Radio Network. You will hear him with Andrew Siciliano and Gerard Cherry Sunday at 1 p.m. as they take on the Tennessee Titans. You like anything he said there, Nathan? Tone? What Nathan just said?
The Myles Garrett stat about tackles for loss, that has never been on my radar ever. But it does sound like, he's chasing history all the way around. And to get to 40, first of all, I didn't know that J.J. Watt had gotten there, but the fact that he has a chance to do that and break the sack record, this could go down as the best defensive year in the history of the sport.
Style points may matter Sunday, and I'll tell you why. And if this guy's saying it, I think you're going to get a little bit worried about Evan Mobley. Son, you have to hear coming up at 9:24 on The Fan.
XTENDAV.com. Extend Technologies, where if you partner up with Extend Technologies by December 31st. And you go all in. Maybe it's a Dolby Atmos theater. Maybe it's a short throw projector.
You can get a 100-inch TV. You can get an 85-inch TV. You spend over $2,000, don't matter. You're going to get it free if
it snows 8 inches or more on February 8th. So when you have all your friends and family over and they're admiring your incredible project, you're just rooting.
on your utility bills. Plus, they're installed in 1 day, backed with a lifetime warranty and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com to get started. Window Nation, a proud partner of your Cleveland Cavaliers.
Sign up to be a part of the fan club. Download the free Odyssey app and follow 92.3 The Fan to get all of the best audio and best stories sent straight to your inbox. 92.3thefan.com.
So style points, I think, is going to matter to the general public coming up here on Sunday afternoon. Let me explain why. I don't get mad. I'm not trying to be goofy. I'm just trying to be honest with everybody. However, Surfside Cavs report brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside, who ask you to please drink responsibly. Tone, I want you to take a look at this sheet right here if you can. That's for 9:35 right there. Coming up at 9:45, we will have coming in hot. Please keep your comments within the boundaries of good taste. Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com, who comes on the show when I'm not here, was on Afternoon Drive. And he was asked about Evan Mobley's mentality ready and whether or not he's ready to take the next step.
I think you just have to ask yourself, is Evan's game ready? Is his mentality ready to be who the Cavs need him to be on the offensive end of the floor, to take that next step as a team? And I don't know that we know the answer to that, but I will say that I think there are bad signs to that, because offensively, he's just kind of the same player that he has been, but a lesser version of that player.
All right, not very good, but that's opinion. Okay. Can respect that. However, this one starts to get you into the DEFCONs here. Hit it.
And I think the truth is that there are just certain guys that are more comfortable being the third option in the offense. Some guys are made to be Batman. Some guys are made to be Robin. And some guys are made to be Alfred. And I think you have to wonder, even though the Cavs want him to be something else, even though the Cavs need him to be something else, does he have the game? Does he have the temperament? Does he have the mentality to be that? Or is he just somebody who's always going to be best and most comfortable when all eyes aren't on him? All eyes of the defense aren't on him. And I think it's fair to wonder if it's ever going to come, if now it's going to be the time, if it's going to get better when Darius Garland comes back, if it's going to get better when Max Strus and Sam Merrill come back, because they take so much of the defensive attention, because they create so much natural movement within the offense. But there is nobody inside this organization that would say that Evan Mobley is having the kind of season that they wanted him to have, that they needed him to have.
So Gasper there is going to scare you a little bit, because he's not going to tell you that unless somebody in the organization has probably told him that, which then you could turn right around and say that, well, you don't want him saying that sort of thing publicly, because that might mess up some of the stuff when it comes to trading him. I don't think there's any possibilities to really trade him. I don't know if there's really a possibility to trade just about anybody on this team, really, because you're in the second apron. However, that's a scary thought for a lot of Cavs fans, because right now I don't think you're flirting with mediocrity or anything like that. It's just been a weird start to the year. It's been a weird start. You've taken $350,000 or $400,000 in fines for how guys haven't played yet and things like that. You're trying to get Darius Garland to a point of comfort because of the toe injury. And really, I think a lot of people don't know. Brad Daugherty was on the broadcast and kind of thought, well, this might be where you're at with him in that injury, where he might just have to play through that injury through the rest of his career. Brad Daugherty knows about playing through injury. That's a scary scenario for a lot of people. But when you hear about Evan Mobley, I'm not going to lose my mind just yet, but I got to tell you, I'm starting to run out a little bit of patience here, because I've been a defender of his for going on 5 full seasons now, and it's never seemed to come to fruition. And you keep bringing up guys who have passed him up, and I'm bothered by it. And the start to this year, you're forcing him to do things that he doesn't really want to do. You're forcing him to do things where he's uncomfortable, and then Scotty Barnes beats him up, Siakam beats him up, Biyombo, he's getting beat up by guys that you think he's a number 3 overall pick. Maybe you should be beating them up by now when it's year 5.
Well, there's no doubt that this is a big part of why they're one of the most disappointing teams in basketball. And, I scour to see opinions and whatever, and most people are giving the Cavs outside of Cleveland, they're actually giving them a bit of a pass because of the injuries. And the problem is we don't know when it comes to Darius what's going to happen. But in that clip, And Fedor talking about Mobley. Thing is, Mobley has actually stepped up his game in a big way over the last 2 weeks. But at the same time, it's not in the way that we were hoping it would look like. It's basically optimizing who he is as a finisher and a great shot blocker. Man, he dominated defensively in that game against Portland, but nobody cares because they lost and they were 11-point favorites. But he made the 7'4", Klingon look terrible. So it shows you again, we kept talking about high ceiling for Evan Mobley. It might be just high floor. He is going to be great defensively every game. And when the guards are doing what they're supposed to do, he's going to get lobs. He's going to get finishes around the rim. And because nobody guards him at the three-point line, he'll have all day to shoot those three-point shots. And if he can get that form down by the end of the year, he will help them tremendously. But what he won't be is, hey, we need you to go get 30 tonight. That's just not the guy he is.
And I think they need him to be that guy if they're going to get to where they need to go. If they can't get to where they need to go, if he's not going to be that guy, then I think a lot of people are going to run out of patience. And, right now, I think it's early in the season. I think we got a lot of Brown stuff to get angry about. I think that they get a bit of a pass because it's the NBA and it's early in the season. The Cup is kind of a distraction. I know we've had some fun with it, but it's like, okay, when did it... You have like a week layoff, but you're going to put teams in that, so you don't have a week layoff. Like, it's weird. And I think we give them a bit of a pass. But by Christmas, which is only a few weeks away, you kind of want to get it going. Mm-hmm. And if you're not getting it going, right now, this team isn't good. They're talented. They're not playing well. They're terrible defensively. They want to get up and down the floor and run like crazy. They're terrible on the defensive end of that when it's done against them. You have Lonzo Ball, as you said, just shooting whenever he wants.
He's been abysmal.
And he's shooting whenever he wants because you mentioned this yesterday. He can't drive to the bucket.
No.
My buddy Nick Kovac tells me he has, 6 layups this year so far?
Can't get anywhere.
Can't drive to the bucket.
And the thing is, he's been at times a decent three-point shooter. He's never been really consistent, but this is bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. So I worry that some of this stuff can't be fixed, but I also know it's only December 5th. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to just keep waiting because I think there's things that I could say that I don't think are things you can take back. Once you say it's time to trade somebody, it's the same thing I think as firing. You're giving up on that guy. Now, I might be able to trade somebody to get somebody better for him, but I think with this team, you're getting dangerously close to the thing of, if it doesn't work out this year, what happens with Donovan? If you can't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, what happens with Donovan? If you can't get there, what happens with Darius? How much of this is Kobe Altman's fault? How much of this was timing with Kobe Altman? These are uncomfortable questions I'm just not going to ask in December, but I think it's things that people have been thinking of in the back of their head with this team.
By the way, Zach Lowe did say yesterday, when we were talking, remember, about the Giannis potential trades, how could we swing something like that? And I said, well, it's going to be almost impossible because can't aggregate salaries. You're in the apron. You're in the second apron, so limits how you can do maneuvers. He did say that there was a way in a 3-team trade, very complicated, that thered be an outside opportunity for a Giannis Mobley situation, but he said it would be really, really hard. And so that's why part of me is like, why even really?
Well, but if you're Milwaukee, you're trying to gut another team. I don't even know if I have the picks to work it with a third party to get in there. So I don't know if it's possible to be able to do such a thing. I'd love to have that conversation. I just don't know if it's possible whatsoever to be able to do that. 216-474-0092.
Still the favorites in the Eastern Conference.
I understand. I throw out the number, 216-474-0092. Why do I throw out the number? Because coming in hot is coming up. 9:45. Please keep your comments within the boundaries of good taste. 216-474-0092. And I'm not going to try to upset you, but style points might matter in some way on Sunday. I'll explain to you coming up at 9:44 on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima.
and why the show still seems to resonate with fans around the world today.
Follow and listen to How We Made Your Mother wherever you get your podcast.
Whenever you need to talk about the Browns, we got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
We fired James Franklin at 3-3. Thought we'd get a head start. Thought we'd finally be free. We made a big list with a whole lot of names.
Back of the Fan. All right. We're almost ready for Coming In Hot. You ready?
Yeah.
Not for Coming In Hot just yet. Let me tell you this.
Now it's signing day morning.
All right, I think you're going to be a little bit upset with me here. I'm not trying to be nasty about it. I know where I'm like, just win the game, just win the game, just win the game. I think style points are going to count to the Browns fans out there on Sunday. I think that if Shedeur Sanders plays well and they win, I think people will be excited. I think if they lose, people are going to be upset. I think if he plays like he's been playing the last 2 games and they win, I think we're going to have a conversation. Either way, you're going to have a conversation. Shedeur plays well and they win, it's going to be like, hey, can he be the guy? If he doesn't play well and they lose, then that's going to be a different animal, and we're going to talk about Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore and all the other things. If he just plays normal, because he's been passable in so many ways over the last couple of games, and they just win, I think style points are going to count to a lot of people. I think that's why you want to see him open up the offense. I do. Daryl does. Nathan does. All the callers have this morning. Everybody wants to see him throw the ball and see what they can do and see whether or not this is it. Because I think I think there's a tremendous difference. I said this yesterday. I think there's a tremendous difference in real Browns fans that are out there in Northeast Ohio and then the Shedeur fans that we see online. And I think that some of them are bots, but the ones doing the sabotage stuff, saying that, I think that that's patently ridiculous, and I don't think that real Browns fans subscribe to that at all. And you can like Shedeur, not like Shedeur, doesn't matter. I don't think you subscribe to that at all. But I think that the Browns fans are open-minded and are like, let's see what he's got. But they want to see what he's got. Yeah. And just turning around and handing off the football.
No.
Well, I'd love to win a football game. Ain't going to do it.
Well, it's probably the smarter way to win a football game.
It
but
probably is.
It's not,
it probably is.
I'm selfish at this point. I want to see the kid make plays. I know he's got it in him to do it. The question is, does he have enough time to get to the point? This is a tough league to try to develop on the fly, right? And they're throwing so much at him. Different teams, different defensive coordinators. He has a chance this week to play well. Because I'll just tell you right now, if he struggles and it looks bad this week, I think
that's probably it.
I think a lot of fans are going to be out.
Yeah.
I think they are totally going to be out.
I think a lot of people check out. And I don't want that to happen.
The Bears, the Bills, they're all looming. And those are teams that need those games. Pittsburgh is going to need the game. And it's going to be hard to imagine if he doesn't play well against Tennessee, how's he going to do against those
I'll go further.
teams?
If he doesn't play well on Sunday, I think we'll probably end up getting Watson calls and things like that. Because you want to see somebody that might have a possibility to it. So, I think to the general fan, winning's winning and I'd like to win. But I think to the general fan, it's like, hey, you're 3-9. Playoffs are out of reach. We're talking about landing spots for Kevin Stefanski outside of Cleveland on major networks now. I want to see something that I can get excited for 2026 for. Not just Myles Garrett, not just Carson Schlesinger. The defense is great, but we all know what stirs the drink on an NFL football team. All right, it's time for Coming In Hot.
This is Coach Kevin Stefanski, and it's time for Coming In Hot.
Well, that was a little bit weirdly timed. All right, here we go. Keep your comments within the boundaries of good taste. 216-474-0092. You ready? Hands on the dump. Here we go. Hello, you're coming in hot.
Hey, Ken Carman. I have a question for you.
Okay.
This is perfect coming in hot topic. What is your stance on the lawsuit for NASCAR between 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports?
It's a biggie.
All right, it's a good question. Thank you very much for the call. I think that NASCAR, at the end of this, I think they're going to have to put in new leadership. This is turning into something really, really ugly for NASCAR, and this is turning into something that is going to affect them PR-wise, and I think they're going to have to get new leadership here. Also, I mean, you're seeing something that is just gobbling up profits from any one of their owners, and the owners of the race teams have to find profits because that's what keeps things afloat. I think in the future, NASCAR is a private business. People don't know that. I think you're probably going to see like a consortium of owners end up taking up ownership of NASCAR, like we see in the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball,
I've been saying this for a while.
No, you haven't.
For the sheer benefit of all of us NASCAR fans, I'd like the Saudi wealth.
Oh, I got it. I don't know exactly which word he was doing, but we're not doing that. Stop texting me, everybody.
Do we have any news from Ames, Iowa?
Not yet. He can stay if he wants. Perfectly fine. Hello, you're coming in hot.
Hello. This is Tim Ryan, the analyst. I'd like to buy a 100-inch Sony Bravia TV, the kind that looks like art when it's off, because I got a good feeling about snow in February. What form of payment do you accept?
Credit cards are fine.
Cash app's
Credit card? You got it.
Knew where he was going. Don't step on it with the cash app. Hello, you're coming in hot.
Bet I know what Snoop was saying when he spent the night with Liz on that tour bus and Ken was in the lawn chair in the corner.
Oh, what was that? Oh, he didn't say anything?
What was that?
What was that?
That was it.
I've not been in a cuck chair yet, okay?
Knowingly.
Hello.
I've been watching dudes.
Hello, you're coming in hot.
Chubby guy to the right. Chubby guy to the right. Chubby guy to the right. Chubby guy to the right.
I was scared to death.
I'm going to be on Whitlock after today's show.
No, you're not. When do you get your own show on the Blaze? Hello, you're coming in hot.
Jason Whitlock called you chubby. Oh my God.
Hello, you're coming in hot.
Hey, Lima, that Mr. Football was completely inappropriate. This station needs to bring back Kevin Kiley immediately.
He's out there. Hello, you're coming in hot. Hello, you're coming in hot. Yes.
Hello. Yeah, why doesn't somebody try blocking for Larvadan on some of these punt returns?
Well, I can't help that. Final one. Hello, you're coming in hot.
Heavens to Murgatrites, we still suck.
All right, I can take two more. Hello, you're coming in hot.
How come when we leave at custodian we say take care when in reality we should be saying caretake?
Give me a quickie. Go ahead.
Hello, you're coming in hot.
So what do? I have my audio engineering certification. Do I take an internship in 92.3 The Fan, or do I start my own podcast? Because I got to start making money off this prop space. I got to make money off it.
All right, that's it. Good. That's it for coming in hot. Big thanks to everybody who joined us today. Daryl Ryder, 92.3 The Fan's Browns beat reporter. Nathan Zagura, Browns Radio Network.
Charles and Euclid as well.
We're back Monday, 6 to 10. Charles and Euclid.
All the guests.
We're back Monday, 6 to 10. For Big Country, for Jeff, for Mitch, for the Slippery Wizard, Anthony Lima. Phone hasn't lit up yet. Phone hasn't lit. Well, now it's nothing. There's no connection to them on the midday show. Mm-hmm. So
I cannot believe this.
What?
Let's go.
It's only
Is it not happening?
It's only 8:53 there. He may stay.
We really got to drive 11 hours
He
again?
may stay. All right, big thanks to everybody who joined us today. We're back Monday 6 to 10. For Big Country, for Mitch, for the Slippery Wizard, Anthony Lima, for Kayla, for Jeff, I'm Ken Carman. Have a wonderful Tall Boy Friday, my friends. Take care. Hey,
sounds good.